everybody, and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors to episode 356 are open. We've got a lot to talk about this week, and to talk all about the exciting things in the world of Nintendo is Zach Clark. Zach, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good. It's been a hell of a week. I think last week when we were chatting, we are like, oh, the week before, a bit slow from the Nintendo front. This last week, very busy, and lots of things, both official and unofficial, announced, and then even in my personal life, I've just had a lot going on. So, I'm tired, but also very excited. It's that weird vibe. And then obviously with Mario and Easter coming up as well this week, that's kind of like fuels into it a bit of like, oh, I got to get all this stuff done before Easter and the weekend, but also like, oh, it's fun stuff to look forward to. So it's all, my emotions are everywhere.
Yeah, I kind of didn't really expect to be this busy in the world of Nintendo at the end of March, honestly. And it feels good, especially like, we were just talking about this, looking forward like to the next month or so. It's looking pretty busy just in terms of things to play and things to look forward to. Obviously, the Mario movie, which will be, I guess, last minute discussing our feelings and thoughts on that as we get into that. But also Pokemon Champions as well, coming out very soon. And the ball's just rolling from here. If you got a Switch 2, hopefully you're not too bored. You're playing something.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's something to focus on, I guess, for hopefully most people if you're if you're a Nintendo fan. And but yeah, I mean, we've got a lot to talk about, so happy to kick off with whatever you want to start off with, Drew.
Well, sounds good. Well, I saw you posted this in the Discord, Zach. You went and bought that Yoshi that hatches out the egg.
Yes.
And I assume it hasn't hatched out the egg because you did mention it was a present for your daughter. But
yeah, this was 100% like me just using my daughter as an excuse to buy something dumb that I will enjoy. Because we talked about it last week around the popcorn bucket, and I'm like, again, I'm not super into that in that it's just going to sit there for me. Whereas this, it will sit there, but I hadn't realized until I saw it was a promotional video with Charlie Day and Brie Larson hatching some eggs. I hadn't quite realized after it hatches, it does react to like sound and talk sort of back to you, if that makes sense. So it does have like a functionality. I kind of assumed it just hatched and it was done, and then it was just a figurine, but no, it has a bit more interactivity afterwards. So that combined with like, it's an egg, it's Easter, I am at least going to get one good video recording of her like watching it hatch, and I'm sure she's going to like flip her little mind out. All of that combined compelled me to spend more money than I probably should on an egg for a kid for Easter. But as I think a few people have pointed out, or at least I've got to remember who said it in your Discord, but considering how expensive Easter eggs are this year, maybe it's actually quite like comparable to getting a chocolate egg in some ways. Maybe it's actually not that steep of a price.
Yeah, just for context, it's $109, I think it was. So yeah,
yes.
Like a good Cadbury Easter haul, probably. I don't think you'll be looking at the $100, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know, if you got a few kids at least, it probably add up pretty quick.
Yes, yeah, I'm mostly being joking a little bit, but and just given how expensive Easter eggs are just compared to like when we were children. But I mean, that's the sign of us getting old when we start talking about back in our day. Cadbury cream egg used to cost 50 cents or whatever it did, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so if happy to report back. I'll certainly post some stuff on the Discord, some photos when it hatches and stuff. So if you're not in the Homestead Discord, jump in there to see that exclusive Yoshi birthing content.
Oh, I can't wait. It's funny because I can poo-poo it. Like I look at the price and like look, I buy a lot of silly things. Trust me, I got handhelds galore just right next to me, and a lot of them are basically that price, $110. So look, I'm not opposed to dropping $110 here and there for sure, but Yeah, when it comes to like the talking flower and like a hatching Yoshi and stuff, it doesn't get me. But I feel like talk to me in a week after I absolutely fall in love with Yoshi in the Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
Talk to me then. See if I've spent the cash, because I
Yes.
might curl over and change my mind.
Yeah, yeah. We'll wait for like some sort of there'll be like some like 20% off toy sale, or maybe like they bought too many and in
Oh
a
yeah.
month's time they all go on sale. You never know.
Or I'll do what you did. I'm like, oh man, my son really loved the movie. He loves Yoshi. I
Mm.
better not deprive him. I better not be a bad
No,
dad. I better buy this hatching Yoshi. He's gonna look out and scatter across the floor, and I've got to pick it up every goddamn night.
yeah. Otherwise, you'll just be asleep, and then suddenly, like, you'll be like, "What's that pain in my back?" And they'll just hear like Yoshi, and you're like, "Oh god damn it!" Like it's in my bed again or whatever. Just chuck it out. Yep. Uh,
Well, at least it's something that I like. It's not like a what's he got? What's he got? What I'm not fond of. I like the things he's into. I like Paw Patrol and that. I think my son's got exquisite taste for his cartoons.
that's good. That's good.
He did like Teletubbies at one point though. I'm absolutely not. We're not doing this. I hated it as a kid. It used to annoy me as a kid, and as an adult, it hasn't gotten any better. I'll tell you that.
It's interesting. I mean, we're getting back into kid talk, but I'm happy to. I liked Teletubbies as a kid, and
Oh,
Pearl, my daughter, seems to like it, but I don't
mm.
know. It's still not Wiggles. Like she'll get bored after an episode or two of Teletubbies, whereas Wiggles doesn't seem to bore her, if that makes sense. Like, if I didn't like tell her like one last song, it'd probably just she'd sit there for hours if I just let it play. So yeah, it's interesting to see what they are drawn to. It's very random.
Oh, they just frustrate me. I just want to push him over. I just want to like push him off that stupid little hill and watch him roll down the hill. Or just go away. I can't stand them.
They'd probably be pretty jolly about it too. Like if you did it, I don't think they'd.
I know,
they'd
and
be
that'll
too
frustrate me even
upset.
more. I'm like, why? Oh dear. Anyway,
Mm.
I won't talk about my fantasies of betting up the Teletubbies. But what I would like to talk about is my experience over the weekend with Mario Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 plus Bellabel
Yeah.
Park.
Gosh, mouthful.
Yeah, I'm surprised I just belted that out actually. I,
Yeah.
I just sort of read an article where it's like, we need to change these names. That was like the subheading. I'm like, I agree. Maybe that's how I sort of was able to cement that in my mind that way. But I was provided this review code from Nintendo Australia. So thank you very much for allowing me to have access to this expansion. But this is, my perspective is purely of a single player gamer. Didn't play any of the multiplayer stuff, which is pretty much the meat and potatoes of this expansion. My experience was going and beating the Koopalings and doing the Toad Brigade challenges. So what that basically entails is there's a bunch of like tents that pop out and pop up in the existing, I guess, overworld of Mario Wonder, and you just got to like go around them, find the tents that popped up, go into them. You do like a quick level, then there's a boss battle for the Koopalings. And the Koopaling, these boss battles are fantastic. One of my biggest nitpicks with Mario Wonder, and just for those that, I guess, just some context of what I think about Mario Wonder, I absolutely love Mario Wonder. One of my favorite Switch games. I probably give it like a 9.5 out of 10. Like, I absolutely loved it, but I was kind of baffled by the lack of unique boss battles in the game. It was just like reskins of like, was it Mecha Bowser or something like that? Like, it was just like a reskin of like, just like the same thing. I'm like, there's so much creativity in these Wonder Seeds. Why are the bosses so vanilla? Like, looking at something like Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends, like the bosses in that were just so distinct and like a lot of fun. Whereas Mario Wonder was completely missing that. But introducing the Koopalings and how they sort of, I guess, mix with Wonder Seeds, and they're like very unique in how you beat them. It was absolutely, it was nice, but it is over relatively quickly. Just doing those bosses, you go and find the levels, you beat them, and then you're doing these Toad Brigade challenges where they're split up into different categories. There's ones for like beating a level without touching coins. There's defeat all the enemies within the time limit, stuff like that. And then when you beat all the Koopalings, there's like beat the Koopalings in a harder mode, basically with like an extra
Mm.
phase. So I've been quite enjoying just picking up the Switch too and knocking out those challenges. And when you beat those challenges, you get a currency, which I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's basically water that you use to water a plot of plants. And from those plants, you can get like items or instruments and things to decorate your Bellabel Park. And that's also like another sort of checklist to check off. So like from those plots, you can get flowers, which you're not crafting, but you need like a certain amount of flowers to craft like a certain flower to put on Wriggler's head, or I guess a bunch of flowers to put in a certain area and things like that. So you're just going off and like, if you've got enough ingredients for it, you just tick, 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 tick. And if you don't, you've got to keep rolling that currency to try and get that. And there's also like a toad band that you're trying to get all the instruments for. I've got one more instrument to get, so I've got to, I guess, keep rolling to get that. But very basic just from the single player that I've experienced so far. I feel like it's going to be over pretty quick. I've probably put like 2 or 3 hours into it just over some pick up and play sessions. But yeah, like I said, I haven't done any of the multiplayer stuff. Like, and honestly, that doesn't really interest me. Maybe I'll have some friends over and we'll jump into it there. But sounds like it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I haven't played any of it. And honestly, I probably won't for a while.
A good while, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. A couple of things. What did you try much of the flower power up, the new power?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the only thing only power up that I've gotten like throughout this DLC. And it's interesting. Like there's nothing stand out about it necessarily, because I kind of forgot about it until I started playing the game, because I guess when the trailer came out, it did show it, but yeah, I completely forgot it. Like, it's cute. I love the costume of it. When you like sprint, it doesn't really look like you're going as fast as you are without the power up, because it's like a bit of a skip rather than like a full on sprint from like just like the main characters. So it's got a lot of charm to it. And like if you press the Y button, you like throw up a flower like directly like vertically up. And that's interesting too, because like in some of the boss battles, you might have like a big horde of like cheap like raining down on you, so you can throw up that flower to basically protect you, to give you some room to like dodge them, stuff like that. So it's like it's very different in that way, and it also gives you like kind of like a flutter kick, like Yoshi in Super Mario 64 DS when you're holding the jump, it goes gives you like a little bit of that, so it gives you a little bit of leverage to do that. So yeah, it's pretty cool, but yeah, it's also harder because like it doesn't really give you any levels necessarily to really flesh it out. I haven't gone back into existing levels and experienced that power up. I don't even know if you can get it in existing levels. I'm not sure, but yeah, pretty much for all the bosses, like I haven't had any of the other power ups. It's only been this one, so it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any other. I assume that's the only power up they added.
As far as I know, it is. I haven't like tried to search spoilers, but it's definitely the only one they advertised. And it sounds like if you've done all the new levels per se, unless they unlock like hide something behind, I don't know, the Toad challenges getting perfect on all of them or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. And I guess the other thing is not so much power ups, but badges. I don't know if were there, other than the combining of badges, was there any new ones or anything, or was it just sort of the enjoy of now mixing and matching all the existing ones?
Yeah, so from what I can tell, it is just like the combined ones. So it gives you existing badges, and it basically gives you like just combinations of 2 badges together, which I haven't really dove into. Like I haven't looked into like, oh, these 2 badges together would create like a crazy combo. I haven't really looked into it. Honestly, when I'm doing these challenges, I'm like, I've kind of forgotten the badges, to be honest with you. Like,
Yeah,
it's been like a long time since I played Mario Wonder. So I'm like, I guess I'll do the dash badge to run a bit faster in this like specific instance. Like one of the boss battles, there's like a big gust of wind where like you're running into. So I'm like, oh, I'll do the dash so I can run into it a bit easier. But I haven't really dove into it. But there was like a badge that I unlocked that trying to work out. I don't really want to spoil it, but it wasn't like a unique ability per se. But yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, nothing to report on the badges. But yeah, I completely forgot about that mechanic in Mario Wonder, to be honest. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh yeah. When I opened up my badge case, I'm like, oh. And I was a little bit nervous because I 100%ed the game in 2023. And when I opened it up, I'm like, oh wow, I'm missing a lot of badges. Like, did my save come over properly? Like, I was missing
Yeah.
like so many, but yeah, it was just those combinations
The new
together.
ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes
I
sense.
was like, oh
Okay.
no.
Not because yeah, was it Splatoon 2? You lost your save at some point, right? So it's like, oh no, not another
Yeah,
Splatoon situation
I
going
forgot
on.
that
Yeah,
game didn't support the cloud. I'm like, oh, yep. Oh, well.
rip. That's all right. So I guess yeah, if someone was in your position where they're similar, like I don't, they're like, I'm probably not going to touch the multiplayer, or at least not enough to justify purchasing. Do you feel that single player content sort of warrants the upgrade price? Like someone will get a kick out of it if they've played and loved Wonder's base game, I suppose.
Yes, I think so. But you have to really love Mario Wonder, and I feel like you have to also be content that it won't be all that long. So yeah,
Mm,
if you're just looking for single player content and like $30 for say like 5 hours or something, it's like yeah, you've got to be happy with that. Otherwise, yeah, I'd say no. But yeah, I feel like eventually I will get some use out of the multiplayer stuff. It's just like yeah. Like I said, my kids aren't old enough, but I feel like my perspective on a lot of these Nintendo games, where they're like, oh, just sit down with your friends on the couch and have some fun. I'll get a lot more use out of that in another 4 years. I feel like so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
At the
it's a
moment,
good
it's
thing
just
we're probably going to be playing Switch 2s for like another 10 years. So it's not like the system and the libraries are going anywhere.
no, and like yeah, that's the good thing about those these Switch 2 editions, like Mario Wonder. It is an evergreen game, so the idea of just adding more to it, whether I utilize all of the features right now or in the future, like it doesn't really matter. Like we still go back to Mario World on Super Nintendo and all this stuff. Like these games are evergreen, so just the more they can add to these games, the better. And even though
Mm,
like personally for me, like the multiplayer stuff wouldn't have sold me on the game, I am happy it's there because like that's something that Mario Wonder didn't really offer, like the family multiplayer session people. Whereas like the new Super Mario Brothers series, feel like a lot of people got like a massive kick out of that, doing it together and
mm,
even implementing like your own games and things like that. Like for example, like there's multiplayer modes of chasey and hide and seek and all of this different stuff in the Switch 2 edition of Mario Wonder. But that's something people were doing back in New Super Mario Bros. Just doing that in the family, just making their own fun within levels.
yeah.
So a lot of that is sort of like brought into this, made into its own mode, which I think is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, we'll experience it later down the track. But yeah, I'm enjoying just being back in Mario Wonder. It's good fun. And yeah, maybe I'll discover that there is actually a lot more sort of single player. But I'm just looking at the list that I've got at the moment for things to collect, challenges to do, and I can see myself being done pretty quickly. Um, I was outside just with the kids. They were playing on their playground, and I was like, "All right, I pick up the Switch 2," and I decided to try and beat one of the harder mode Koopalings,
Mm.
and it was kicking my butt a little bit. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, this. I feel like it shouldn't be kicking my butt. I don't know why. I was just dying in the silliest ways. I'm like, all right, put it down for a minute. I'll come back to it when I'm feeling a bit more refreshed. It was that bloody hot tonight, Zach. There were flies everywhere. I don't know if it was humid in Melbourne today, but
It's warm. Yeah, definitely warm. Yep.
yeah. So I'll blame it on that. Can't blame it on my own skills.
No, blame the South Australian heat.
Mm,
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So yeah. You haven't picked it up yet, but you did mention that
No.
it will be there.
Yeah. Yeah, as I said, the good thing about these, well, again, because I'm not going to be the guy that rebuys his Switch collection, Switch 2 editions. Being able just to buy it when I'm ready to play, it's going to be my approach. And it wasn't this weekend. It might be in April sometime. It's hard to say. I mean, we're about to talk about a bunch of stuff happening in April, so maybe not. We'll just see where how life goes. But yeah, in some ways, even the fact that you said it's not a ton of content, sort of maybe it's more like if I find a solid, 2 or 3 hour window, maybe I just grab it and try and knock out at least those crippling battles, because they do look pretty fun from the snippets I've seen on social media. They seem, yeah, like kind of what the game should have had from the start.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The game does look really nice too. Just like, yeah, in I assume 4K, but at least higher resolution than it was on Switch in docked mode.
Mm.
And yeah, it looks nice 1080p on Switch too. But I guess you can do 1080p handheld mode now anyway. So hats off. Thanks, Nintendo. So yeah, let's talk about the Mario movies, Zach. Comes out in a
Yeah.
couple of days. Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. We had some bombs drop this week, which is a little bit crazy.
Yes.
A little bit crazy. Fox McCloud going to be
Mm.
in the
Yep.
movie, and as we were sort of discussing before the show, it's like, do we say that? I was really frustrated that they put that out there and sort of spoiled it. But I think at this point, if you're listening to a Nintendo podcast, you probably know. And if I spoiled it for you, I'm sorry. But
Yeah. Yeah, it is everywhere. I think, yeah, we were watching on the Discord. I posted it in spoiler mode just in case, but
mhm.
inevitably I think everyone that's active in there posted saying, "Up, it's hit me. I've seen it on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube thumbnail or my favorite, yeah, like, whatever mentioned it, or my friend texted me. It's just it's impossible." And you sort of touched on it, but Dave was asking if we were happy about how it was done, or not. And yeah, I mean, on one hand, no, I would have loved to have sort of gone into the movie and seen that, for myself, even though I kind of expected it. After a few keen sort of analysts, or analyst is probably the wrong word, but like game explaining, etc., had sort of been, oh, this little leg in this scene looks a bit like Fox. And it sort of started to build a bit of momentum there that maybe that's going to happen. It still would have been so cool just to see it realized. I think back to some of the reveals in other sort of video game movies like Sonic, when they revealed like, oh, Shadow's going to be in the third one. That was like pretty exciting, having not, seen that in advance that was going to happen. But I do also understand, like, what were the odds of us getting to launch of this movie and someone not ruining it, in a less impressive way, where we all knew it was happening, but we didn't get the cool sort of poster. So I can sort of understand the reasoning, alongside the fact that, I don't think this reveal is going to make anyone not see the movie, but it will get at least a small number of people, not a lot, because it's Star Fox. It's not the most
Mm.
um, well-known franchise, but we'll get some people go, okay, well, I just want to go and see it just to see Fox, or I want to go see how they're now kind of turning this into a Nintendo universe. Is kind of the hot topic at the moment. Is this the start of the Smash Bros initiative, or something to that effect? Because we obviously have also seen in previous trailers Rob, we've seen Pikmin are somehow going to be in it, so it does feel like we're getting a bit of a small subsection of the Smash cast making an appearance here, which is interesting.
Yes, yeah. I feel like my feelings on it have like settled down a little bit, but yeah, my initial thoughts were like, damn it! Like
Mm,
I feel like I really saw a spoil of it leaked and I didn't want to see it, but it was from them. I'm like, really?
mm,
God, I was frustrated by it. I'm like, I would have popped off in the movies for this, like just
yeah.
seeing like the R-wing. Like, could you imagine like Mario's just like, I don't know. They're at a point when they need help. Then you just hear do a barrel roll and he like just fucking swoops in the R-wing or some shit. I don't know. It's like, holy crap. It would have been amazing. Now we're like, Now we'll be like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
It's like, damn it. We only get to watch this movie once for the first time, and it's not a game. This is an hour and a half movie. Like it's not a
Yeah.
10-hour, 20-hour game. Um, yeah, no, it makes me frustrated. But now, like a few days after, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be cool. Like I'm excited for the movie. I would have been excited for the movie anyway, but it's gonna be good fun. I just wish they didn't. I wish they didn't have to do that because,
Yeah.
like you said, like it's the Mario movie. People love Mario. I don't know how many more people got sold on it because like Fox McCloud, like your dad's favorite character, basically at this point. Like all the kids, like yeah, the kids watching this movie, they haven't had a good Star Fox game since they've been alive. So it's like, are they just how
Yes.
big of fans are they of Star Fox? Unless they're big Smash fans and they like maining him in Smash, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the only advice I can give to someone who's still in that your initial state of being bummed out is now kind of turn your mind to like, well, what else? Because that's a bit of a there's two prongs to that. The first prong is like, what other Star Fox things are there? Are we going to see Slippy, Peppy, and Falco? Like, are they even for a second? Is he going to fly off with them? They might not say anything. Kind of similar to Diddy and Chunky and Dixie were in the Donkey Kong segment. They were just kind of there. So I guess you can sort of now think, well, what other surprises are there for me? Because hopefully there are some. And Dave again was
mm,
sort of asking, do we think there is a big reveal potentially as like the post credits now, given they were happy to let Fox out of the bag? I don't know, Drew, if you've given any thought to what other surprise they might have actually kept for us in the spoiler bag, I suppose.
well, they've got to keep something. So yeah, I certainly hope so. And like, will it be more Nintendo characters? I don't know. It'll be. We also don't need too many at once. Like I think like Star Fox, Fox McCloud just by himself would have been like a big moment. Sort of like what they're doing with Sonic at the moment, for example. Like these characters are very slowly being introduced movie by movie.
Mm,
Like obviously Shadow 3, we know who we're going to be getting in 4. Like within the main roster and the villain, like they're introducing them one at a time. So we're going to get a lot of Nintendo and Mario movies. They're not going to stop with the second one or the third
yes.
one or the fourth one. So they've got plenty of opportunities to add these characters in and have them as big marketing beats as they go. So um, it is kind of like, yeah, Star Fox. I feel like it makes the most sense too with the space theme, but it's like they could
Mm.
they could bring in Samus as well. Obviously, that's a no-brainer when it comes to like a space theme. Would they save her for a surprise? I don't know. I feel like the Star Fox team. It can't be Fox by himself. Like they don't roll individually, so they have to roll as a crew. You would think. I don't know. We're
Yeah, I think that seems likely to me, hopefully. But
yeah.
I don't know if they'll speak. Maybe I'm wrong. Other than maybe Peppy saying do a barrel roll, that might be essential.
Yeah, because like they have to speak. They don't shut up. So it's
Yeah,
just in
that's a
the
good
in
point.
the movie they're just like just driving their ships, just like you're not saying anything. Not in the game. You're just like do a barrel. Oh, Fox. Oh my god. So hopefully I do that in the movie too. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see it being a thing where somehow, for some reason, they're in a spaceship of some kind, like Mario and friends, and then yeah, on the screen or the dashboard, they get the classic Star Fox like talking box with the talking head in there. That could be that'd be a fun way. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how they enter. And again, it's certainly opened up my mind to what else could be happening. Though I don't know if we're going to get many other franchises beyond the ones they've showed in this movie. Is my gut feel like
Mm,
Pikmin. My question is maybe will Olimar have a little presence as well? Because one of the famous Easter eggs in Mario Galaxy was the SS Dolphin from Pikmin was like I
mm.
think in the first level or the second level, I can't remember, but it's pretty early on. So like maybe we just see him sort of like in his little ship or something wouldn't be too out of place. Which might explain why the Pikmin are there in that sort of teaser. Um, but as for like the end credits, I don't want to be a downer. I do think there will be some. fun things. But if you're kind of thinking, is it going to be Metroid or is it going to be, something completely non Mario related? I tend to think it won't be. Like, I think instead we're more likely to get. So here's my current thoughts. I think DK is not in this movie until the end credits, and I think he will appear as a teaser for a Donkey Kong movie in some fashion.
Oh.
That's my gut feel is where DK shows up because it feels like it's almost certainly going to be a DK movie happening. That's the rumors have been going for a couple of years now, pretty much, and
Mm.
it just makes sense with how much money they spent on him getting his own theme park. But I also think they have to tease a third Mario movie. And to me, it's got to be Wario at this point. Like, if it's not
Oh,
Wario, I don't know
God.
what you're doing.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That really would be. Yeah, I'd love to see them in movie form. That'd be so funny. Oh, and like fully voice acted by like some comedian or something too. Oh
Yes.
my, yes, yes, that'd be very good to see. Yeah, very, very, very funny.
Yes. Yeah. So
uh,
fingers crossed. I'd be happy with that. Like, again, I don't even need. Again, I don't need. I've seen so many people being like, "Oh, is Mario going to get the Smash letter?" And I just don't think that's where they're going. At least not anytime soon. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't. It just feels too soon to pull out the Smash card. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure if that's something they're planning to do. It there's something about the fact that most of these things so far are very Miyamoto focused, like they're Miyamoto babies, that I feel it gels a bit better. But once we start bringing in Fire Emblem and Zelda and stuff, it just, well, I mean, Zelda's Miyamoto as well, but like
yeah,
stuff that feels less of this cartoony side of Miyamoto, I don't know, it'll feel a bit different, but whoop, sorry, knocked my mic. But yeah, well, that's where my head's at the moment. Still excited, still keen to see what surprises they have, but yeah, I'm not necessarily expecting a big other franchise to pop up now that I've seen Fox get the big announcement.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm with you. I don't expect any other characters, but hopefully that allows me to be open to be surprised if there is anything. But I was excited just to see like all the Mario references, what's in there, like just like seeing Wart. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, they've got Wart and like all this like pretty. I guess it's Mario Brothers 2. It's not that deep, but in some ways, like it's a character Nintendo themselves haven't really acknowledged since that game.
Yes.
So that's going to be quite good to see. Like, yeah, basically him as like the leader of this casino planet and things. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. It's just going to be like the first movie where it's just like a big reference, and we're like, that's that music, that's that iconography, that's that, and like the story doesn't have to be crazy, but yeah, just the visual delight of it all is going to be very very good. So man, I can't wait. Yes, going to be taking Lucas to his first movie. I'm trying to hype him up. He seems excited.
Good.
He asked me, do they have big lollipops at the movies? I'm like, oh, I don't think they do. Sorry, they got like cups of lollies and things, popcorn and drinks. But yeah, he's wondering if they had like those big circle
Yeah,
lollipops. I'm like,
spirally ones. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. I wonder where he's got that from. It must be in a cartoon or something where he's seen a kid or whatever go to a movie and have a lollipop. Can't imagine what else is.
Oh, I remember
Unless he's just in a lollipop mood.
he loves his lollipops, but he said the circus. Is that does it have big lollipops like the circus? So it must have been one at the circus. I can't remember. We went to a circus
Ah,
last year when it came to town, so maybe that was it.
okay.
Yeah, not sure, but yeah,
Yeah. Well,
gonna be great. You gonna see it a couple of times? You reckon? I reckon I'd like to. I'd like to go and watch
uh,
it a couple of times.
yeah, it'd be good. I think as you and I are both aware, having
Yes.
kids can make going to the movies a bit challenging. Like even this last Friday, my wife was kind enough to give me the pass to go see. Have you ever watched Nirvana the band, the show? Is that familiar to you or
No,
no?
no, no. I know Nirvana the band. Is that?
No, well, that's the joke. They're not Nirvana the band. They're a band called Nirvana the band. And
Gotcha.
it was like an internet show in 2008, but then it got a TV show, and then it now just got a movie. Have you seen the Update Day clip? Like that is quite viral amongst Nintendo communities, where it's like they turned the Wii Shopping Channel song into a song. Like, have you seen that?
Yeah, yes. Like, oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, it's
Yeah, yeah,
it's
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's them. That's from their show.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's very funny. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah. So they're I highly recommend watching like either the internet show or the TV show. It's hard to legally find in Australia, but you can,
mm,
you're all clever people. You can figure it out, how to get there.
mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, the whole premise of the show is they want to play at this club, a real club in Canada called the Rivoli, and then in Melbourne we have a cinema called the Rivoli. So it was a whole thing where they're like, we got to have this movie in the Rivoli, and like there were heaps of people there, and they made a special
Oh.
poster for everyone that came. It was quite a lot of fun. But anyway, point being is that was I've kind of burned up a go to the movie without my wife card last week, and
Ah.
so um, she's coming with me to the Mario movie, so that's good.
Mm.
But burning up another card to see it a second time will be tough. But we'll see how we go. Worst case, I'll definitely. I got the first one on 4K, whatever they're called. That's Blu-rays. I don't know. I assume
Mm-hmm.
they're still called Blu-rays.
Yeah.
I'll probably do the same. I mean, like I know it's on every streaming service, but there's always that element of like, Netflix has it now, but maybe in like 3 months it'll be removed and shifted to Paramount or something like that. And I just don't want to deal with that mess. If I can avoid it, just happy to know I've at least got a copy that for now will play in a PlayStation still until PlayStation stops supporting physical media and have that sort of accessible.
Yeah, no, for sure. If there's a movie I love, I just buy it. Easy peasy. Then it's part of your DVD collection or your, in my case, I guess Apple TV library, whatever you call it. That's typically where I
Yep,
buy digital
also
copies.
good of choice.
Because I think the Mario movie, like it went up and down. Like it goes on Netflix, it goes off Netflix. It's like, yeah, when you've got a kid, it's like, Dad, I want to watch Mario. I'm like, all right, son, I need to give you the Mario right now because there is no waiting in today's world, is there, son? You must watch it. There's
Yes,
you want no
I can
ads, you want no
imagine
loading, you want it right now. So yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
reckon
I
I'll buy
can.
it too.
Yeah, I think it'll be hopefully the right call. But so yeah, I'll definitely watch it many times. Just whether that's in the cinema, will TBD. But yeah, very exciting.
Absolutely, yes. So stay tuned. Next week we'll be talking about the Mario movie. I would like to do like, I guess, a dedicated spoiler cast to it. We're trying to work out the logistics of all that. Josh will be back, and Zach will be joining us for that as well. Talk about the Mario movie. So hopefully we like it. Hopefully we didn't
Yeah.
just come back. Oh, that was bad. Mario said shit,
Uh,
and my kid got offended. I don't know. All right.
yeah, well,
Now
I
you,
get the sense. I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think all three of us are going to like it. So apologies for anyone that's a hyper critical film person. I suspect we're not going to be the people being like, Mario just didn't explore the emotional depths I was expecting of a plumber in space. It just didn't quite get there the way I thought it would.
yeah. Um, with me and movies is like I watch it and it's got to be really bad for me not to like a movie, honestly. Because
Mm.
like with games, like I'm always learning about them, listening to people like discuss them. I'm learning like just playing them myself, and I do a podcast about it. I talk about what I like, what I don't like, and like break it down and all this. But when I watch a movie, I'm like, yeah, it's good. Quite enjoyed it actually. It's nice. It's nice, like not really much of a time commitment. Hour and a half to watch it, 2 hours. Like even like we're watching a like Wonder Woman like years ago, and it's a bad movie. And I was sat there with my Coke and popcorn. Yeah, it's fine. And my friend was like, "That was awful. I hated it." And I was like, "I don't know. Like, it wasn't that good." Like all these years later, I can't remember a thing about it. Like it was just a pretty mediocre movie. But I really didn't have too much bad to say. I'm like, "That was fine." There was a fight at the end, and she cracked her whip, and no, that's all right. Don't know. So yeah, So in other words, there's no chance I probably
Yeah.
won't like the movie because I've got.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're gonna be probably pretty chuffed. So yeah, go tune into like I don't know Roger Ebert or whatever for a more more snobby level of criticism, or highbrow criticism, whatever you want to call it. But if you want to geek out, I'm sure the spoiler cast will be the place to do it.
Absolutely. Speaking of the things that are pretty exciting, not quite as exciting as the Mario movie, but still pretty cool. Pokemon Champions got a release date for April 8th. And it's also getting a Switch 2 patch on the same day. So for you performance snobs like me out there, so I just want it to run better. And there you are. Also, there will be a starter pack that you can buy that gives you increased box space. So it gives you 50 plus Pokemon you can have in storage. You can play the battle or the trainer battle theme from Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Teammate tickets, 30. Don't know what they are. And training tickets, you get 50 tickets. So we don't know the pricing and how any of the microtransactions, battle passes and that work, but content creators did get to go down to Pokemon HQ and get hands-on. So there's lots of previews out there. And definitely the one that gave us the most information, went most in depth, was Cerebi, Joe Merrick over there. Did a fantastic preview that, I watched some videos and other content creators seem to use the information Joe put out there too. So yeah, just hats off to Joe, always doing fantastic work for years and years over at Cerebi.net. But before we jump into some of these more fine details, Zach, how are you feeling about Pokemon Champions? You interested in it? You much of a competitive Pokemon battler? What's your sort of take on competitive Pokemon?
Yeah, I mean, I have tried to be to competitive Pokemon. I've entered, regional tournaments in Melbourne many years ago when I was still at university. So it's been a while. It was during the XY era, for guess context, which is longer ago than I'd like to admit.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, I love the idea of playing competitive Pokemon. I at least watch World a little bit every year because I just like seeing what's the go. I tried to sign up for the trading card game this year at Melbourne Regionals, but it sold out within 5 minutes, so I did not get into the trading card game. They had 1,000 spots and it still went that fast. I think I could have gotten to the video game, but I just wasn't. Apparently not using champions at Melbourne Regionals. You've heard it here potentially first, or maybe not if you've entered the tournament. Still using Scarlet and Violet in May when our regionals are. So at least that's clear. So it's good for people who are a bit uncertain on what champions will do to the meta. But yeah, it's given it's free, it's hard to not be a little bit excited because even if the pricing ends up being egregious, and we'll touch a bit on sort of that aspect as we keep chatting, I'm sure. It's hard not to I'll just give it a shot, and if it's good, great. I've just got a new thing to experience and play. If it sucks, I just will stop. There's nothing, I don't have any sunk cost fallacy with a free to play game. So yeah, I'm excited, and I'm more, probably to be honest though, I am more excited just to see how it hopefully invigorates the VGC scene, because while it's only launching on the Switch platforms in April, we know it's targeting mobile at some point. And I think we sort of touched a little bit on this in previous weeks. I just can't wait to see more people give it a shot and hopefully just sort of bolster that scene, bolster the meta, bring more like eyes to the esport, I suppose you could call it. And I think that'll be quite exciting, as well as I think probably in game, though I'm not sure if we've seen any of this in the most recent trailer, the mixing and matching of the I guess gimmicks, the terrestrialization, the mega evolution. I think that's a lot of fun because I don't know if you watched like the last few episodes of Ash's anime at all, Drew, like when that was finishing up on, I don't even know what it aired on Netflix or something. That was quite fun. Like I hadn't watched the anime in years, but to watch them actually battle with, Ash will use a Z move and like Leon will use Mega Gigantamax Charizard is quite it was quite fun, if that makes sense, given we never got to do it in the games until now.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like, I guess at launch it's just Mega Evolutions, but like in the, I guess the trailer last year, there's like, was it? I think it was Mega Evolutions and Terrestrialization. So that's what's going to be really fun about this is that like season to season, the meta, they can shift the meta so much because like the first one would be revolving around Mega Evolution and all of the new Megas from ZA coming over to the competitive format for the first time, getting abilities and like all of that that's sort of like competitive Pokemon offer that isn't in the Legends titles. So that's going to be really cool. But like next season, we're like, all right, you can't use Megas, but Terrestrialization is in, or Z Moves is in, or Dynamax and Gigantamax is in. And then once all they're all implemented, like how does Gigantamax mix with Mega Evolution? Like, can you have both on your team? Like, and or do you choose one? And like, do you choose like I don't know, like a Dynamax Pokemon that can't Mega Evolve, so they get that stat increase? Is that better necessarily than choosing a Mega with like a particular form? Because also on the Mega, you have to hold the Mega Stone. You don't have access to items. So it's kind of I'm very interested to see how it all works. So I'm very excited for it because I haven't been into competitive Pokemon since I guess Scarlet and Violet. I was really into it a lot more in Sword and Shield. I was like breeding Pokemon and doing the battle tower and going online. I still have a really great memory of using Lantern, one of my favorite Pokemon, and it's not like the strongest Pokemon, so it's not used all that much. And it's got the ability Water Absorb. What was it? What was it? Oh, I can't remember if it's the lightning or I can't remember if it sucks.
Lightning Rod or Water Absorb.
Yeah, I can't remember now, but they used one of those attacks and like it just did nothing and they just turned off their switch and I got an error message. Like they rage quit on me and I just thought that was so funny. So hopefully I can do something smart like that. Well, that wasn't even that smart. That was just having a Pokemon out in the field and they didn't know its ability. But hopefully I can do something like that again and make someone rage quit. Maybe I'll rage quit. Maybe I'll do that. I'll use Surf on Lapras and it will just do nothing. I'm like, damn it, and I'll turn off the switch in anger. Just disgust. But yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I am a little bit nervous just about like the microtransactions and just the nature of it being free to play. That's when I sort of go, ooh, a little bit nervous, especially when it's like, are there going to be microtransactions for trading Pokemon and things like that? It seems like it's not. But let's dive into just some of, I guess, the mechanics of this game. The biggest one for the competitive format and for people that have been playing Pokemon over the last 20 years is that individual values on Pokemon no longer exist. Or at least they're just at the amount, like max amount. So every Pokemon is equal as far as IVs go. So just some context on what IVs are for people that aren't mega nerds for competitive Pokemon. But every stat on a Pokemon varies between an individual point of 0 to 31. And obviously the higher that number, the better stat of that particular Pokemon. And there's a lot of manipulation for these individual stats. So for example, obviously if you have an attacking Pokemon that uses physical attack, you're obviously going to want max IV. You're going to want 31 IVs on attack. But there are some instances when you want like lower amounts on these as well. A big strategy that competitive Pokemon players use is a strategy called Trick Room, where basically the speed is reversed on a particular Pokemon. So if you've got a slow Pokemon, use Trick Room, then basically your speed gets reversed and you become the fastest Pokemon. And if you want to basically make it so you're guaranteed to be the fastest Pokemon in a Trick Room situation, you want the lowest stats. So a lot of competitive players want 0 IVs on speed. And like there's a few sort of situations like that where you can sort of really calculate it to make it work for you. So I think some players are kind of like, oh, it takes a little bit of the nuance out of it a little bit, but also IVs were one of those things where it's kind of like, it's kind of a little bit frustrating because like, for example, I'm playing a 20-year-old game at the moment, Pokemon Emerald, Whereas like if you get bad IVs, too bad, especially on a legendary. Like keep soft resetting, I guess. Do your thing.
Yeah.
In Scarlet and Violet, you can use bottle caps and gold bottle caps to up those stats. But I guess for something like this, it's a little bit of unnecessary step in some ways. So yes, that is gone. You don't have to think about that in this game. You do in Scarlet and Violet, but you don't in this, which is good. So there's not any of that, but you're able to train Pokemon with VP, so victory points, and you get victory points by winning battles. And you're able to, like, whether it's recruit Pokemon, you can get them from Pokemon Ranch. And if you want to keep that Pokemon longer than a week, you can use victory points to keep that Pokemon. Also use victory points to up their stats and buy items and buy just all sorts of things, whether it's cosmetic things for your trainer or, just you can completely train a Pokemon just by buying things with victory points. And I don't know what the economy is going to be like in this game, like how easy a victory point is going to be able to buy. Are you going to be grinding 100 battles to fully make a Pokemon battle ready from 0 to like 100%? Not sure. That's something we don't know, and that's something that the content creators don't know who went to this event.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm quite excited about like just being able to edit the Pokemon pretty easily. Just jump into it and make a Pokemon. But yeah, we'll see how easy it is. Anything on those things, Zach, like IVs and
Yeah.
the economy of victory points?
So I think I do. I guess first off with the IVs, I can understand why some people are frustrated that perhaps their particular Pokemon's strategy is thrown under the bus, but that's kind of the nature of Pokemon. The rule sets change, the meta changes. One door closes, another opens. So that's my maybe a bit dismissive, but my my take on that. And certainly with the system of effectively using the VP to get your effort values or EVs or whatever they're going to call them in this game, I think you've still got plenty of customization around. I still might keep my speed plussed, and that will still maybe open up a trick room opportunity as an example for a particular Pokemon. It's because it's all relative, right? It just sort of depends where the stats lie compared to other Pokemon rather than, um, you know, just specifically your Pokemon, I suppose. As for the VP, I think you're right. So we know they've said apparently VP cannot be purchased in any way, which is good, given it's tied to the, I guess, how good your Pokemon is, I suppose. So
Yeah,
in
it'll be.
theory,
It
not
could be
pay to
pay
win.
to
I'm not.
win. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of good. But what is concerning to me is the grind to get it. If it's quite plentiful and it's doable in like however you want, like I'm not sort of forced to play modes or ways I don't really want to do a ton of. Like for example, if I only want to do 2v2 battles, I don't want it to be like after a couple of them, we give you way less points. So can you please go try single battles to get more points, until you sort of hit the max on that. That'd be quite frustrating. So it all is going to come down to the execution. My only concern is the rental purchasing system, only from the perspective of someone that doesn't have any of the Pokemon games, because at face value, 2,000 whatever points feels like a lot. And maybe it's not, and it'll be fine. But I do wonder how viable it actually is going to be if someone's going to be like, this is going to be my entry into Pokemon battles. I have not bought a Pokemon game. I'm just going to try this again, particularly when the phone version comes out. At face value, it does feel a little inaccessible, that method of you rent one Pokemon, which is randomly chosen through some sort of system, and then if you like it, then you can buy it. It just feels very like it could be a slog to actually get a proper team together, and may still require owning or having access to at least the core Pokemon games to really have a shot. So, I mean, we'll see, but that's my biggest sort of fear at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's definitely going to be a benefit to have a Pokemon Home subscription to move those Pokemon over to this game, because otherwise, yeah, how do you even get started? Like I guess if you buy the starter pack, you get you get some tickets to buy one. But if you're just going for like the free to play model, don't want to spend any money, like you rent one Pokemon, you go online trying to beat a team with that one Pokemon you just rented. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be interesting just from that perspective. Pokemon fans love doing their challenge runs, so we'll see some challenge runs. Like, couldn't I make a team of 6 Pokemon just from scratch? Like, there's going to be plenty of them out there, I dare say. So yeah, that'll be pretty fun to see. Um, but there's some interesting quality of life features too. Like a lot of Pokemon is like the mechanics that the game never tells you. Even the modern titles, they don't tell you. But like in this one, it's got like the description for attacks, and it tells you like secondary effects and stat decreases, and it actually physically displays them on the screen, which is very useful. So it actually shows you like if you're negative or +3 attack or something like that. Like if you get intimidated, your attack goes down. It actually shows you like -1 attack on your Pokemon. Whereas before you would have to like keep it in mind or write it down on a piece of paper as it's happening, or you know, as you're trying to buff up your evasion with double team or something. You're like, all right, I've done 5 double teams. I can do one more. It'll just show you on there now, which is quite nice. Also, PP is now just standardized. You can't use PP maxes. So to, I guess, equate for this, some moves have now have a higher just base PP. So for example, I think Rest had 5 PP, but now it has 8 PP just in this, because you can't completely max it out. Whereas like competitive Pokemon before, you just max out all your moves. So like Rest, for example, you could just stall the other team. You could use Toxic, just keep them resting, stall them out over time. There's nothing they can do about it. But in this, you've got that limited amount of rest or recovery moves. So there's going to be less opportunities potentially for stalling out more defensive Pokemon. So all of these tiny little changes that they're making to it will like see ramifications to like how the meta evolves, and over time if they change like one of these things, it just fascinates me how it all just works together. When people say that Pokemon's simple, it's like, man, I guess if it's rock, paper, scissors, like type advantages, but the type advantages are like at the tippy top of the iceberg. All of this stuff is
Yeah.
underneath. And that's what makes it so like interesting to watch. Like, yeah, I got really into just watching this stuff. So I hope it really reinvigorates me just watching like the championships and all of that going forward. They did mention as well that like the battles, the animations looking a lot more slick, which is nice since this is a battle focused game / app. So you would hope so. I will say I would love it if they put in like the Pokemon Stadium announcer. This is something that I really feel is missing in like just Pokemon battles. Like even in like just the actual mainline games, like a gym battle or the Pokemon League or something, they should be announced. Like just make it feel so much more grand as you're going in. But that's something I would like to see implemented in this in the future if they'll ever to do major updates like that. Like actually have like an announcer. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, the game's looking relatively nice for what we expect from Pokemon over the last generation. So it's looking pretty good. Yeah. Anything to say on that as I'm going through some of this?
Yeah, no, not specifically. I mean, again, I think it'll be interesting just to see how it goes in a bit over a week. And um yeah, again, for me, I'm just very fascinated by the new player experience or the free to play player experience, and then as we said, just the monetization of it all. I mean, knowing me, I'll probably chuck at the starter pack price unless it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
From what we have heard, it might be around $10 US. So
Mm-hmm.
if that's 15-20 bucks, I'm probably willing to put that down just to see what that gets me. But at the same time, even if I don't, I'm definitely going to play it. And yeah, I'll be keen to tune in and hear your thoughts and potentially Josh's thoughts if he decides to give it a whirl. Knowing him, I reckon he will. At least give it some of a shot. So, yeah, it'll be good to see it come out after, gosh, over a year now since it was announced. Certainly one of the longer sort of sort of gaps between announcement and release in recent memory for Pokemon. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really it was real strange how like they had like a real detailed trailer last year. Oh, it's next year. Then just silence for all that time. Oh, that was really odd. But yeah,
Yes.
get it right. Make sure it's good when it comes out. Yeah, and something I'm very excited for. Something that will hopefully evolve quite well over time. Like obviously it's coming out now, relatively. I don't know if I'd use the word bare bones, but it is just focused solely on battling, which is what you want. But I would love to see, like, for example, those announcers added in, or even like some single player content. Like you make a team, you don't really want to go online and play other
Online.
people, but like put a battle tower directly in this, or even something like the Battle Frontier or something, like just like choose a facility to go and try and beat, like just nothing crazy, but just something to try and beat, where it's like consecutive battles in a row,
Yeah.
something like that, for a more single player minded person before they jump into ranked or something.
I I kind of think that's almost a necessity. I mean, I'm not doesn't sound like there's anything like that day one, but I agree because one of my favorite things about Pocket is the single player like events and the single player like sort of challenges you get
Mm.
every time a new deck or set comes out. It's like, yeah, I do want to just kind of mess around on that without the fear of embarrassment versing someone online first. So I definitely think some single player challenges other than just tutorials would be really critical, I think, to its success.
Yeah, like imagine an event where it's just like, hey, look, Red, he's arrived at the Champion Stadium or whatever the hell the location's called, and he's got a really tough team, and if you beat him, you get like this nice amount of VP, or I don't know,
Yeah.
even like a special Pokemon, for example, like something like
Yeah,
tangible to
Red
get,
Charizard or something.
and they do their
Yeah.
events like that. That could be really cool. That'll get me like pretty amped actually to like, oh, I got to beat up champions this week because I've got a week to try and beat this particular trainer, and everybody's talking about like the best team and strategy to take him down and all of this. That could be really special too. So there's a lot of potential for this, and out of all of like the Pokemon free to play things, this is definitely the one that gets me excited, because it is actually like the core mechanic of what makes Pokemon in my eyes. So yes, very excited by it. So we'll be playing it next week. All right.
Yep.
All right. And we got some sort of I guess a bit of an update for digital games on Switch 2. So Nintendo has decided to lower the prices of digital games on the Nintendo eShop, starting with what's its name? Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, coming in May. So here in Australia, instead of $110, which is the maximum price for a retail game for Nintendo Switch 2 titles, instead digitally it would be $94.95 here in Australia, or your local equivalent. I don't know what it is where you live if you're not in Australia, but when I saw this was quite good. I feel like not many other companies have really tried this necessarily. It's always been like, look, it's $110 if you get the plastic in the disc, or it's just the download code and we don't really do anything apart from upload it to the server and serve it to you that way. So yeah, I'm quite happy about this as a digital gamer, and even physical gamers, like, you'll still get it cheaper than $94 if you go to Big W, Target, etc., etc. Like,
Yeah.
for the most part, you can get Switch 2 games for $85 if you get them around launch or catch them on a good sale. So it's just a win-win situation, I feel. And like I said, no other company's really done it. Obviously, Steam sales are notorious for being good value, but for like brand new games, Steam is still the exact same price as PlayStation Network and Xbox and Switch eShop. So yeah, it gets hyped up a little bit more than PC gamers love to say how cheap PC gaming is, but that's if you're buying games that are 15 years old.
Yes.
It's not the brand new games. I think the only other example is like PlayStation Vita. Apparently, the games are a bit cheaper, but I guess if you bought them on the PlayStation Network. But I don't remember that. I had a PlayStation Vita at launch, and I don't remember it being that way. But I guess I wasn't paying that much attention to the pricing of things and all
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I was too entrenched in. I was working retail at the time as well, so I probably just bought everything
Mm-hmm.
there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got my Vita games
So
physically
yeah,
too, so I'm like, yeah, I didn't really pay much attention until PS Plus just started giving you everything. I'm like, oh, cool. Now play some stuff on on the download. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So what's your take
yeah.
on this?
I think it's great. I mean, like literally since like full priced games, whatever you want to call them, were sort of made digital for purchase, probably over 20 years ago, now I'd suspect. People have always said, why are they the same price or often more expensive than the physical? There's no packaging, shipping, cartridges, discs, whatever. And now it's finally happening. I think it's smart. I think it's the only thing I just find baffling is this weird like, and it's probably just the social media negativity that's getting to it, but like this weird twisting of it where so many people want to be like, it's a physical tax. Nintendo are trying to kill physical games, and it's just like, we again. I feel like everyone for 20 years was saying that digital versions of games should be cheaper because of the cost to make them is virtually nothing, like they can let millions of people download digital copies and it does not cost a significant amount at all to Nintendo versus printing millions of copies of a game. um so it just frustrates me to no end the way everyone has to turn any little thing like this into some sort of negative conspiracy theory, which I'm probably doing a disservice giving it airtime now on the show. But yeah, just like I just have no patience for the conspiracy that physical game key cards were first. Now it's the physical tax. It's just just stop. Just to stop with your whining. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I will
Sorry.
say the physical enthusiasts like around Switch 2, they're a bit crazy. A little bit crazy. Because yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I was looking to move to physical with Switch 2 because like with consoles, it makes it feel different to PC. Like I was playing a few more third party stuff on PC, and my thought was like, oh, on PlayStation and Switch, I would love to have like a physical collection because that's what sort of makes it, I guess, different to like the alternatives. But then with all of like the key card and all of that stuff, I'm like, nah. Actually, nah, don't worry about it. Like I made my decision. I could either go physical, go digital, or not play at all. And like honestly, I am pretty happy that I stuck with digital because it's just, I don't like when it comes to like having the Switch docked, especially like I feel like I'll play my games a lot less because like I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
have to go and get it and swap it over. Like Mario Tennis, for example, I just jump in for 5 minutes every now and again. Like I wouldn't do that if it was just like my physical copy. I had to go and get it, take it out, and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with it, especially with fuel prices at the moment. Well,
Yes. Don't want to drive around. Yeah.
yeah, like it's quite a drive. Like I'll talk about it later. But I went and picked up Life is Strange Reunion. I got a physical copy on PlayStation, and I was sort of like, should I just cancel it and download it? Because yeah, it's not going to be that cheap. Like I did some other things in town when I went to go and get it, but that was the main reason why I basically went into town to go and get it. I'm like, like it's like yeah, $2.60
Yeah.
for a liter of fuel to go and get pick up my physical game. So I also when it comes to games on Switch, I'm always like a lot more excited like for stuff on Switch, like first party releases. So I don't want to wait. I don't want to miss out. So yeah, it works out pretty well for me personally. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's pretty clear cut in Australia that in my opinion, it's a discount. Like I know other regions a bit like, oh, was Yoshi really going to be $70 or whatever? But like, I think
yes,
it's with the 110 retail. Yeah, it was. And 95 is cheaper than any like full price of a Switch 2 game from Nintendo we've had. It is the cheapest, quote unquote, like full retail release from Nintendo on that system at that $95 amount. So it's definitely a discount here in Australia, even though it's semantics in some ways, which way you look at it. You just kind of pick pick which way based on the narrative you wanna ride. But anyway, yeah, I think it's good. It's good for you and other digital only buyers. Hopefully, again, um, and if you are a physical person, vote with your wallet and just keep buying physical and show it's important. Which,
Yeah.
again, luckily in Australia is easy to do because it'll probably still be cheaper than 95.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I went to Big W the other day. I went and had a look at the Mario Wonder amiibo. I sort of bent down, had a look at them. Very nice amiibo, by the way. I don't know if you've gotten yours.
Hmm.
I was.
I have, yes,
You have?
somewhere
Yeah.
back
Cool.
there.
Cool. Just
Yep.
like chucked it in the pile. um,
Yeah, I had a moment today where my wife picked up the elephant and said, "What's this? And when did this happen?" I'm like, I'm pretty sure you've already teased me about this. We don't need to we don't need to do this again." But yeah, no, it's they're definitely there on the shelf.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
Uh,
I was looking at them. Like I was thinking about getting one. I'm like, no, I don't need one. But the elephant one, very heavy, very solid. Just as I was feeling it in the package at the shop. But yeah, when I was there, like all of like the first party Nintendo games were like $85, like pretty good reduction really. I was looking at like Kirby Air Riders for 85 and stuff. I'm like, yeah, so physical gamers, you can still get it cheaper, but yes, us digital folk get thrown a bit of a bone, which is quite nice. I will say, like people saying like, oh look, was Yoshi really going to be like a $70 game? It's like, yes. Should it be? I don't think so. I'd like it to surprise me when it comes out, but yeah, Nintendo's like their variable pricing that Doug Bowser teased around launch. Yeah, that doesn't really seem to vary very much. It varies up with Mario Kart, but that was about it. So,
yes,
even
yeah.
sort of simpler 2D platformers like Yoshi and things like that, it's like that's still like a very, very premiumly priced game. But yeah, what's your sort of take on Yoshi? Because I will say like Mario Tennis for me, I was like, man, this is not worth $110, but I kind of fell in love with that game. Maybe not for maybe not $110 worth, but it's still like I really did fall in love with that. So I'm hoping Yoshi and the Mysterious Book kind of surprises me as well.
Yeah, I have to say the last trailer really helped me with Yoshi. I think I've come to understand the fun in this one will not be the same type of fun you get from a Yoshi's Island or a Yoshi story even, um, or Yoshi's Woolly World. It'll be more its own thing, which feels to be like this collect and almost Pokemon-esque collecting of enemies and then filling out their like little journal entries. Like it feels like it's going to scratch a different itch than a typical Yoshi game. Um, and sort of having made peace with that fact, I'm open to seeing it, and open to that gameplay loop it kind of showed off with the little sort of mouth dude that blew bubbles and changed colors in that overview trailer a few weeks ago. Um, but like anything, it'll kind of come down to the level of depth and the length as to whether it actually justifies that now, let's say 95 to be generous, price tag. Um, because Yoshi games have erred on the side of either a lack of depth, like Crafted World certainly to me felt like that. A lot of padding with go back to the level backwards and crap like that. Or they are quite short and quite simple. So yeah, proof will kind of be in the pudding, but the gameplay loop intrigues me, and that's yeah, and the art style as well. I think is great. I'm
Oh
really
yeah,
glad they didn't take a third go at kind of like handcrafty things again.
yeah. The art style looks gorgeous. I think that like I love Yoshi. I love like this art style that it's going for. I just like you've tricked me so many times already. Good feel. You've tricked me with your wonderfully cute game, and yeah, I'm just so standoffish. But we'll see. We shall see. There's been a Tomodachi. Oh, That's how you say it.
Tomodachi.
Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream demo. So you can download that on your Nintendo Switch, and the progress transfers to the full game. I haven't had the chance to play it yet. I always struggle to allocate myself time to play demos. I just can't do it. I've got so many games to
Yeah.
play that I have. As when it comes to just playing a demo, I can't seem to do it. But yeah, you said you played the demo. What's your thoughts so far?
Yeah. So yeah, I usually avoid demos because I'm like, I'm gonna play the game anyway while I
Mm.
play a demo. But they got me with, if you play the demo, you get a hamster outfit. I'm like, well, I gotta
Oh damn!
get the hamster outfit, Drew.
Oh, yes, you do. I didn't
Gotta
know
have
that.
that. So yeah. So I did download and play the demo for about an hour last night. And it is good. If you like the first game, it is definitely, I think, addressed a lot of my concerns. So probably the big things in the game, in the demo, you can only make 3 Miis to start off with, and they lock you there to buying the full game to have more. So I made my wife, me, and my daughter. And first off, thing off the bat, something I love. They let me set our relationships as what they are in real life. So, like in the
Hmm.
first, or the technically the second Tomodachi Life, but we won't get into that. It was kind of like you just throw a bunch of me's on an island and you just kind of see who they end up with. It's kind of, you have a little bit of influence, but like they,
Mm.
you could awkwardly find yourself like married to your wife's sister, and that would be pretty bad in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
showing your wife that. So being able to preset that, and they do say like, we will acknowledge this. Your me's might still hate each other or whatever, but we'll at least acknowledge, you're married and that this child is your child. So we won't make you marry your child or anything weird like that. That kind of stuff I think is great to have there, because I think a lot of people, you know, like the idea of seeing a few little random, Hugh Morris-esque scenes playing out with friends, but it does get a bit awkward if, again, like you and your mate swap partners or things like that, or your best friend marries your child. Like you just don't want to see it. It just would be weird. Uh,
Yes.
so I think that's a great change. On top of course, being able to select your gender or lack of a gender. I don't know if that's the right term, but like, non-binary, or as well as your preferences. So again, if you're a man who wants to date men, you can do that. If you don't care who you date, you can do that. That's very customizable, and I think that's all for the better in this type of game. The Me Maker is good. I mean, I've seen people say it's not as good as Metopia. Probably correct. I don't know enough about that to validate, but it's still a very good Me Maker. Probably the biggest thing I having not made a me in a long time was I didn't realize they added ear options. So now you can have ears,
Oh.
compared to just flat heads. Looks a little weird at the start, but once you adjust to it, it's like, okay, I can. I mean, I have ears, so I guess my me should have ears, um, which is cute. And then yeah, once you sort of get going, it is just that classic Tomodachi Life hilarity, really, of like you give them food and see what they like and don't like, their weird reactions. You go into their dreams. Like, my like wife's me had a dream about like being on top of like a building and then saying, "Don't push me off," and then a little hand comes and pushed her off, and then we got some bungee rope as our like item for having that dream. Just like weird things like that. And obviously scenarios where it's a bit like Mad Libs, where you can chuck in words like, oh, you're going to go have a chat to this person. What do you want them to chat about? You can put whatever you want in there. And not that I partook in this yet, but for what I've seen online, there is no filter. So you can put literally anything
Yes.
in those Mad Lib moments. So you can create a lot
Oh
of
man.
humor there. Like, yeah, we had a lot of laughs last night as my wife was watching our interactions together, which was great. But I mean, all of that to say, it did highlight the expected biggest flaw, which is just the sharing. I took a ton of screenshots and videos, and sure enough, when I opened up my Switch Online app this morning, nothing had transferred over that. It was still all my like Pocopia screenshots from a week or two ago, um, which is a bummer because like the appeal is that you make a funny scene, and when you make a funny scene, you kind of want to share it with people. And so, other than again going like, "Honey, come look at your me do this stupid thing," like which I yell out like, or I grab my Switch and run in the bedroom and be like, "Look at this!" But to do that, if I make a Drew, me and a Josh me, and you guys do something silly together, I can't easily do that and share that on the Discord or anywhere. I saw Luke from the Discord, he posted that you can do it. Yeah, I think if you do direct connection to your PC or something like that, it is a way to do it, but it's quite um yeah, it's quite difficult compared to the simplicity of it being conveniently on your phone ready to share. So I mean, that it sounds silly, but that could be the thing that really kills the long term like longevity of it, because certainly even back then, my favorite thing on the 3DS one was just posting screenshots on like, you know, Facebook Messenger groups, or, I don't think Discord was around back then, but there was, a number of chat channels I had with my friends, and we just, yeah, shared a bunch of screenshots constantly. That was really the quote unquote gameplay loop of that game. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see, but I mean, I think otherwise the fundamentals and where they've evolved the actual in-game stuff, it seems like they're firing on all cylinders in terms of what a fan of the 3DS game will want to see.
Yeah, no, great. I'll be interested if I can make it fun for myself, like you said, putting your family and things in that. I think that'll be quite fun, like seeing how my kids interact in the game with like their parents and things. I think could be quite funny, and even when they're a bit older, like them seeing it, they might get a kick out of seeing cute little characters walk around town and that too. Um, you mentioned that like you're able to save your screenshots and videos, but you just couldn't upload them to the cloud. I was surprised that you're able to do that
Yeah.
even, because like other games that like stop you from doing like Smash Brothers, you just press the screenshot button and it goes, nope, like you can't
Yeah.
even save it to your Switch. So I'm surprised you can at least just save it to your Switch, because yeah, I guess theoretically you could just take your SD card out, put it in your computer, and do that. Obviously, we're probably not going to do that because
No.
it's going to be
Yeah.
like too much work. I'm not that keen to share my screenshots and that.
No.
I find it too much of a hassle sometimes to even go to the app and download it. It's like a
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
actually
Like
think
that
about it.
is already a step. Yeah.
Mm,
Like, and I think, I'm sure a lot of people are just going to do the off the phone photo and that kind of thing,
yeah.
which regardless of how they block it, I mean, probably the question I'd pose to people, I mean, it's going to vary person by person, but like, would it have been better to have some filters and allow easy sharing, or is it better that we don't have filters and have to have this sort of weird roundabout way of being able to share the content? I'm not quite sure, like, because quite frankly, some of the obscene stuff I found online can be pretty funny, to be honest, depending
Oh
on your
yeah,
sense of humor.
that's wonderful. They haven't blocked
So
anything. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, after they went through the effort with Pokemon to block stuff, it's a bit
Mm.
surprising, but pleasant. I guess the only thing is, would I have preferred easy sharing? Maybe, but yeah, I couldn't confidently say for sure, because they both have some pros and cons there.
Yeah, I honestly, like, if I had to choose one or the other, I would honestly choose the non-censored version, because like content creators and that, they're just hooked up to a capture card. I'm hooked up to a capture card actually. So if I make something heinous, I will record it and I will share it, and
Yeah.
I will get myself or the creators or whoever in trouble for allowing this monstrosity to come from my mind into the game and project it online. But yeah, we're gonna see this stuff. Like, yeah, people will have their capture cards set up, or just like you said, just with the camera on their phone, just do a quick little snap and share it that way. But yeah, no, I'm glad you enjoyed what you played anyway, because you're just coming off like a lot of pokeopia. So be interesting to see
Yeah.
once it actually comes out, whether you'll be burnt out by the time you get the full release.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit, but I do think first off, I think Tomodachi Live's a bit more passive, because it is sim-like in that you are like a hand that goes and grabs the
Mm.
the Tomodachis or the Miis or whatever, and just pokes them around and sees what happens. A bit like a kind of like an ant farm. It's a bit more just like a thing you observe and sort of poke and prod to try and get some stuff to happen. But I guess like yeah, the funniness comes from what you put into it. So if you have lots of, whether it's you want to go the celebrity route, whether you want to go you're making an original cast characters route, or you're just chucking your friends and family in, like there, it's funny in a way that Pocopia's humor requires you to like Pokemon, because it's like reference humor to the Pokedex entries and stuff. This is just, how funny is it that like, grandma like whooped, my brother's ass at basketball or something like that. Like that kind of like silly scenarios that sounds quite innocent, the one I've picked, but like things like that are quite hilarious. So I think it'll still be an appeal. I don't think it'll hopefully be as um mentally taxing to play in some ways. Not that Pokopia is that mentally taxing, but it like another layer down from that is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. For, as you mentioned, you just want to chill out for like 20 minutes, but you still want to play a game. I feel like this will fit that niche quite well. So yeah, so it's, looking forward to seeing the reception to the full version. I'm definitely getting it because I loved the first one. So yeah, very keen to give it a whirl.
Yeah, no. So yes, it's coming out very soon. Coming out in April. I can't remember the release date. Do we have a release date here? No. I am looking at the hamster costumes though. Apparently, you can get one of 6. So don't know.
Or
There's like
gonna have
just
to
different.
pick, or do I? Or maybe yeah.
I don't know. There's just different colors. I like just like the darker brown one. I'd go that. But there's like a white one and a yellow one, grey one. So you go and choose your hamster outfits.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the website. Weird, they don't have oh, there it is, 16th. There we go. So a few weeks away. Yeah. So if you haven't played the demo, as I mentioned, because you do get the hamster outfit, maybe give it a whirl. Or if you've just never played a game in the series, which is very possible, then may as well download it and give it a shot.
Yeah, I've got the demo downloaded. I should put an hour into it, but yeah, I just seem to never get around to demos. I download demos and I just end up deleting them like months
Yeah.
afterwards. Like, the intention was there, but yeah, I just find it hard to justify sometimes. Like when there's like Steam Next Fest and stuff, like people are like, oh, I'm playing all these amazing demos and things. I'm like, I download them and I just never get to them because I've got like 5 games right in front of my face. I'm like, I'll prefer to play that, just the full thing.
Yeah, I've pretty much got a like no demo, no early access internal policy at this point, because I've got too much finished games that I should be playing, that I can wait for the full thing. Again, other than when they're like play the demo to get an exclusive thing, that always hooks me if it's a game I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks by the sounds of it. All right, let's talk about some big rumors. Zach, Nate the Hate has come out and dropped a bit of a bomb over on his podcast. And I don't typically really cover leaks and rumors necessarily, purely because like I'm not really that interested necessarily. We've got plenty of things right in our face to talk about a lot of the time. But this one's big. Nate the Hate just absolutely nailed the like announcement and release of Switch 2. So ever since then, it's like, all right, he's got pretty good contacts at Nintendo. So usually listen when he has something to say regarding Nintendo. And he's basically laid out a lot of their, if not all of their plans for the rest of this year and early next year. The biggest ones being a brand new Star Fox game, a remake of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, as well as some other things, which we'll get into. But what did you sort of think about all of this, Zach? We'll go through it, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a
So
bit.
I, for the first time, actually bothered to listen to Nate's podcast, because I've
Nice.
read his reports many times. I've never actually listened to him say what he says, I suppose, firsthand. It's always been through someone's interpretation of it. And I think it was quite good because I don't love leakers and I don't love the fact he's leaking. I think now that he's done it, at least hearing how he says things is quite important, because he is clearly a man that says things in a very particular way, and he tries his best to be very clear on when he's speculating and when he's reporting a rumor of what he's heard from his contact and his sources. Um, in that, like, he does, like, for example, the biggest starting rumor you mentioned was the Star Fox game apparently coming in um summer, American summer. That was not said with any qualifiers. That was just stated as a fact because he believes that is just a thing that is happening. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
Versus some other stuff, which as we talk through it, we can touch on. He's a bit more like, this is the thing I do know, and because I know this, we can infer potentially this. So again, more in that speculation territory, which unfortunately some of the like social media content creators don't distinguish very clearly. So I've
Mm.
tried my best to tell you. Admittedly, I'm now doing what those social media creators do, which is interpreting it myself and relaying it to you. But I'll do my best to try and keep it as accurate to how he described the various components. Because yeah, it went all the way from specific games and timings of when they will be released to even things around, just Nintendo's way of doing things and what's changing. So yeah, let's get into it.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess just for context, with that in mind, I've got just an article from Nintendo Life. So I guess it's how they interpreted it and put it into their article as well. I was meaning to listen to it because, like you beforehand, I hadn't, well, still haven't listened to Nate the Hate. I don't know what he sounds like. He might have just such a dreamy voice. I'm not
Well,
quite
I
sure.
was I haven't gone to verify this, but his co-host MVG uh, sounded very Australian, so that was nice. So I'm going to assume that they're Australian. I haven't Googled them to actually confirm that, but it was like, because I was listening to Nate, very American, and then I was like, oh, who's this like familiar, like this voice that sounds like my people, like the other guy that was sort of asking him questions. I like that was a nice surprise.
We stand out quite a bit online, don't we, when we talk? Even when I listen back to me when I'm editing or something, it's like, God, I sound Australian. Because, like, a lot of the stuff I listen to is, I guess, American or, UK or whatever. Like, um, the Australians that I listen to, they're like my friends, like yourself. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, stand out quite a bit. All right, let's talk about, I guess let's just start with the biggest thing. So, like, um, there's a Mario game scheduled for next year, 2027. So that could be cool. We can get to that a little bit later. But Star Fox, this is the biggest one, especially since Fox McCloud will have a cameo or an appearance in the Mario movie. So it seems like good synergy from Nintendo. They're sort of lining up their marketing, with the Mario movie. And it seemed like this was, Nate sort of mentioned that people are going to be quite happy with the art style or the graphics, which is like, I guess they're going to be quite nice. Also incorporating online multiplayer, which I've always wanted from Star Fox. Was it Star Fox Command on DS? That was like a Wi-Fi enabled game, but not quite exactly
Yep.
what I'm thinking about when I think about online Star Fox in the modern era. So yeah, it could be something very special, like something like ship combat online, whatever have you. So I've always been somebody I love Star Fox, but it hasn't really shone since Lilac Wars on 64. Like it really, it's been
Yeah.
a very long time. Like in my lifetime of being a gamer, it hasn't been relevant. Like I love the characters, but Smash Brothers has done a lot of that heavy lifting for me, like falling in love with those characters. So I would like an amazing Star Fox game. That'd be quite nice. I'm 31 now. They've taken their time throughout my whole childhood to do another good one. But yeah, this would be the time now. So yeah, what do you think about a new Star Fox, especially coming so quickly too? By the sounds of it.
So soon, yeah. Yeah, obviously I'm a big fan. Loved Lilac Wars and sort of just played all the others that came out since then, which yeah, they're not all great, but a lot of them I have a lot of fondness for, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, to your point on multiplayer, I had a wonderful period where I was younger and it was the GameCube days, and we had some family friends from Germany staying over, and one of the guy that was my age, like friend that was staying with us, and there was when Star Fox Assault came out, and we played a heap of the like deathmatch mode or whatever it's called of that game. So I also am a big uh, believer in that Star Fox multiplayer can be good, and thus an online version hopefully is good. So I am very excited that a mixture of excitement and a bit of trepidation that they're saying it's very classic. I think on one hand, I'm glad they are not going crazy and doing something very different, but I do think me and a lot of others were kind of hoping when Star Fox comes back, they do sort of take it to the next level. Um, kind of do the Breath of the Wild upgrade or the Mario Odyssey upgrade, whatever you want to call it. Not sure what that would have looked like for Star Fox or what that may still look like. Maybe it will have that level of upgrade. It's just not in the way we're thinking. Maybe it's more in that multiplayer side. It will actually be where the game blows out into this real phenomenon. But I guess, a lot of people when Zero came out kind of felt frustrated, like, oh, we've got, Star Fox, and then Lilac Wars was kind of a redo of Star Fox, and then we got Star Fox 64 3D, and then and then we got Star Fox Zero, which is another redo kind of thing. So there did feel like, despite the infrequency of launches, there were people getting a little sick of kind of that same formula. So that's the only thing that gives me a little concern with how it's been described as quite a traditional Star Fox experience.
Yeah, like, do we need another one? Like, just like, oh, here's just go through go through the stages, get to the final boss, beat them. Like, yeah, it'd be cool to have a good one of them, especially to look nice as well on Switch too. But yeah, I just like bring that into the modern era. Either focus on the characters and make it like some like adventure, like expand it, or really focus on like the arcade nature of it, where it's like score attack, or even like a roguelite mode where you're going through trying to get as far as you can, getting different weapons and things as you go along. You can sort of see like that being pretty entertaining, just the arcade nature of it, pick up and play. But if it's just like a story mode, just same thing again, that's when I'll be like, oh, look, don't get me wrong, I'll play and probably really enjoy it. But yeah, it just depends how they do it. I'm just sort of sick of the series always going back to just the exact same thing, but just never really capturing that magic of what it was back on Nintendo 64. Don't get me wrong, like Star Fox Assault, for example, like pretty cool, but it was I guess a very similar thing again, where it was like, yeah, kind of basing itself off the past. So yeah, I kind of just want to see the series move forward, really.
Yeah, and you can think of ways that it can, where like maybe just have a little bit of a hub world that you can sort of fly around in, that then triggers into like sequences of those arcade sort of, modes. Like you can sort of think of concepts that it would work. I mean, I guess the question is, is this a game Nintendo wanted to go really hard on and put a lot of money and time into, or is it more let's just go really tight, focus budget, push out a good another Star Fox, and kind of hope the momentum with obviously the movie stuff. It's you got to imagine there's some connection behind he's in the movie, and then potentially as early as 2 months to 3 or 4 months later, they get a game that's got to be somewhat planned. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a very happy coincidence they're doing that. But yeah, you would think that there's an element of capitalizing on the marketing aspect of it. And yeah, but I guess hoping that that will be enough, which I just don't think it would be. I could be wrong, but I think it'll do better than Zero just because it's on a more successful system, but it might not sort of uplift the franchise in the way we saw other games like, Metroid and Pikmin get a bit of a boost from the usual performance numbers during the Switch era.
Yeah, so I'm like, fingers crossed, but yeah, hopefully if they are going just for that more classic style Star Fox game, that it is just, it just really is fun to play. Like, hopefully they just nail the gameplay. I think that's probably the main thing. But yeah, and just like emphasize those characters because they're fun characters. Apart from Slippy.
Yes.
Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Remake. Pretty exciting. Kick us off. What do you think? What would you like to see from this? Obviously, this would be massive if true.
Yeah, well, it should be. The only, just to get expectations in line, the only thing I always have said since, people have hypothesized on one happening even earlier this year. It was a big sort of fantasy critic topic, people drafting it or not drafting it. I've always said, look at Nintendo's history. How often have they done what I would call like a full-on FF7 reimagining or RE2, RE4 style reimagining of a game when they remake it? And the answer is almost never. I'd say Super Mario 64 DS is the only somewhat reasonable example of them significantly changing a remake by adding in the extra characters, though the levels were fairly similar for the most part. So I'm not saying that it will be just another Ocarina of Time 3D situation, but I would just say keep your expectations in check until we see it, in case it is very much just a HD redo of the original game again. But what I want is, yes, that RE2 or FF7 remake esque scale of change. That's what we want to see. That's what anyone imagines when they hear Ocarina of Time remake. I don't care if they're not faithful. Played Ocarina of Time enough that I don't need a one-for-one experience. I'm excited potentially to see a fresh take on it with some, modernized combat, maybe some different puzzles and layouts of the dungeons. World hopefully a bit busier, more things, more people walking around. All that kind of stuff's what I want to see. Well, I will say not just being like Breath of the Wild, so like keep that core, like go and get your dungeons in a particular order and sort of that more classic Zelda, get an item, sort of unlock new abilities that let you go do these things. I think that don't make it that we can do anything in any order, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Keep it a bit more linear, but just make it feel new and fresh and bigger.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I feel like Ocarina of Time 3D on 3DS, we had that reskin, that remake, quality of life features, all of that. They've made that game. You can go and play it right now, whether it's on a HD system. It's not, but there are ways to make it HD, and it looks very nice. So we sort of have that game. So the idea of them doing a remake where it is like you go to Hyrule Field and it looks tiny, but it looks beautiful. Doesn't really that doesn't excite me. Like the idea of it being like, oh, Ocarina of Time, but look at the textures on Kakariko Village. So wow, that's very nice. But it all just feels so small. Like I feel like to get what I want. Otherwise, honestly, I probably won't even bother playing it. I'll just like, look, I've played Ocarina of Time, relatively recently, within like the last, I guess, 5 years. It's sort of recent for a game that old. Like for me, I definitely want like a reimagining, not necessarily a remake. Like you said, keep your expectations in check. But, at the moment, it's just a rumor, so I'm going to put my expectations high. This is one of the most important Nintendo games ever made. The highest rated game on Metacritic ever. So, yes, I have high expectations for this game. This isn't just one of Nintendo's games. This is the Legend of Zelda story that really is like the example of like a massive story that spans time and takes like the amount of like, you talk about the Triforce with like wisdom, courage, and power. The amount of work it took for Zelda and Link to take down Ganondorf in this game, like spanning generations and going through time, and like the amount of people and all that to meet along the way. Like it's quite an incredible story. Like it's awesome. So the idea of that being fleshed out in a way where like you go into Hyrule Field, and even in 2026, it's reimagined. It's at a scope now that makes us go, wow, like holy crap. And like going to a populated Kakariko village or Hyrule Castle town and all of this in like 2026, it'll be phenomenal. It'll be awesome to experience that story like a little bit more fleshed out and like a bigger world and everything. Don't know. I did exactly what you told me not to do, but I really hope that it's not just like a simple like, oh look, we remade it for the 40th anniversary. Look, now it's got improved textures, and look, you can go to your menu a lot more easily, and you can equip the iron boots easily as well. So wonderful. Like I hope
If you've
it's
got
more. I hope it's more
the
than
save,
that.
if you've got the save file for Legend of Zelda: The Tears of the Kingdom game, you can have Link's tunic from the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom game, or something stupid like that. Yeah,
Yes.
I think I they've got it, and particularly if it is, we'll talk about what's not going to potentially be the big game at the end of the year. But if it is the big game at the end of the year, yeah, I want it to be a big game that feels almost like a new game, just with all the beats. I mean, it's kind of ironic. We're just saying with Star Fox, we don't want another remake, but in this case, like, if I'm keen for like that kind of reimagining stuff. I think Ocarina of Time would be very exciting to see, especially if it doesn't come at the cost of you know a big gap between the next new Zelda, I suppose. I mean, I'd be a bit bummed if this was like oh yeah, this is what the core Zelda team have been doing, and once it's done, they're gonna start scratch on whatever's next. That might be a little, even if it's good, a little bit like, oh, kind of would have almost preferred a new one. But I tend to think that's not the case. They might have spun up a second team, or using a bit of outsourcing like Grezzo or somebody to do some heavy lifting. So we'll that's kind of the nitty gritty that we'll chat about when if it actually gets revealed, assuming this is all true, and credits roll and we figure that out, kind of bits and pieces out. But either way, it could be a very exciting end of the year if this is the quote unquote holiday game.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Like even thinking about it, like from Nintendo's perspective, the thing about how do we sell Switch 2s? So, all right, this is one of their biggest games. Got a Zelda movie coming out next year, so it'll be good to have a product on the shelf. But also, like, a big scaled remake would certainly do a lot more for selling units rather than just like, hey, look, it's a nicer looking version. But yes, oh man, I'm excited just thinking about it now. But man, I'm going to be so freaking disappointed if it's not similar to what I just put out on the table there. My God. All right, so what do we got next? A Mario game next year. So it's not really much of a surprise to me. I could have seen a Mario game this year personally, but also I could have easily not seen a Mario game. Obviously, Donkey Kong Bonanza last year. And I always thought that while it was quite impressive to see Nintendo put Donkey Kong out first, like really believe in him at a moment where like a brand new console could have definitely used Mario. Why not? I kind of respected Nintendo a bit just for putting Donkey Kong. I guess putting a franchise that wasn't quite as big, but also trying to build him up over time. But I also didn't have that much belief that means for the Mario game's going to be another 5 years away. Like that would have been kind of ridiculous on their part to make that decision to use their resources that way. So I don't know if it was in that podcast or it was before Zach, but did Nate mention that like it was a junior team that was mainly responsible for Bonanza, or was that
No.
was that beforehand?
I don't know. It wasn't this podcast, put it this way. He didn't make any assertions around the team or anything like that for the 3D Mario. All he really said was, it's not this year.
Mm-hmm.
He did pose an interesting question. And this is, again, why I want to say his words very clear, because he did say this was very much speculation of around if you were Nintendo and if you knew that you actually were getting Grand Theft Auto 6 as on your system, would that maybe give you rise to delay Mario just for that? So he posed that question to his co-host, and his co-host said yes, but then Nate, weirdly enough, said, I don't think so. They probably would have just launched Mario anyway. So maybe that was just his fun way of trying to suggest that this isn't a scenario of like Nintendo holding it back. This is a scenario where they are genuinely still developing it, and want it to be big and grand. So that was kind of most of the scuttlebutt around Mario, I suppose. Was more that like, why would they be doing it next year as opposed to this year? Could it be because of GTA? Probably not. Okay, let's assume it means because it's going to be a very ambitious game.
Mm.
that was kind of, yeah, it was an interesting line of dialogue, but ultimately, I think the answer is probably something along the lines of they did have some of their devs from the main Mario game on this, as well as a junior team. But, um, like if Bonanza didn't exist, I suspect we probably would have got Mario earlier.
Oh yeah.
I have a gut feel that would have, yeah. Which, take that as you will. You either be like, that's fine, I'm glad I finally got a big Donkey Kong game, or you might be like, kind of wish I got Mario sooner. That's just going to come down to personal taste at this point.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I can't wait to see it. Like the rest of us, I dare say, it's going to be a good time. But if you had expectations that you're going to be playing it soon, no. Um, some smaller things. Seems like he says that we're getting Splatoon Raiders, Rhythm Heaven Groove, and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I guess during the American summer, so from June to September or whatever that works out to be, as well as like a Switch 2 edition of Switch Sports, which pretty cool. Also Switch 2 editions for
yeah.
Sorry.
I just want to pause on Switch Sports because he did say something interesting there. Funnily enough, you complained earlier about the title of Mario Wonder. He did sort of say at this point he has a feeling they're going to pivot from the Switch 2 edition like branding, and specifically with Switch Sports, he thinks it might end up just being like sort of marketed as a new game.
Okay.
So it'll have like all the content of Switch Sports plus some more sports, but they're not going to call it potentially, like he said, they might call it Switch 2 edition still. He's not sure 100%, but he has a sense that they might be more like Switch Sports 2 or Switch Sports a definitive edition or something. Not a big deal. I get the sense like content wise, it might still be close to a Switch 2 edition. But yeah, he was kind of like, it could go one of three ways effectively in how they quote unquote title the project.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Switch Sports is probably a good name for a Switch 2 edition. Like Nintendo Switch Sports, Switch 2 edition. That actually kind of makes sense. Like it's the Switch 2 edition of Switch Sports.
Yeah.
So that one actually makes sense. So it'd be funny if that's the one they decided to pivot their strategy there. But like Splatoon Raiders, none of us know anything about it. So it'd be interesting if it comes out within the next few months. Rhythm Heaven Groove, no idea about release date, but hell, yeah, why not? Next few months as well. That sounds good. And Fire Emblem, I would have said probably summer for this when it got announced. Like, seems like a good time to put Fire Emblem out. Like, it's not the holiday game, but it's it's a big game throughout the year that people like to pick up. So I'm very excited by it. Looks the concept looks very good. So also switched to editions for Pikmin 4 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Dustbloods. It's also they're aiming for a launch later this year. Yes, Zach, give us some context.
This is another good point. Pikmin 4, he definitely said. Xenoblade was 100% speculation off of someone asked in the chat, is there a possibility? And his answer was, yes, there's always a possibility. So that was 100% not.
Okay.
Not. And again, so don't lock that one in.
Okay.
But Pikmin, he was pretty clear is happening.
It's very interesting how that can be misconstrued very quickly. Because, like, yeah, if somebody asks me, like, oh, is it possible for this to happen? I'm like, oh, yeah, yes. Yes, it's very possible for sure. So,
well, that's literally the approach he took to every question around, is it possible? He would always, him or his co-host would always say yes. Because he also made it very clear, even though some people are reporting it as, hey, it has spoiled the entire Switch 2 lineup for this year. He's very clear, like, this is just the things I know about. It does not preclude the possibility of other things existing.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, which is good because, I mean, to be fair, if there was just this, it's still pretty good. Like, I'm not looking at it and going, we've got a shortage of games. But if you're still holding out hope for some little surprise here or there, that hope can live on.
Yeah, because it was in the news as well for basically saying that there's not going to be a main direct until at least June, which is like, yeah, I would have told you that probably. Like they missed out on this sort of particular time to do it. I don't really see them doing it in between then, like either. So yeah, that makes sense to me. So yeah, so obviously the biggest thing was like Ocarina of Time remake. If that turns out to be true, that's going to be another just massive get for Nate the Hate as far as his inside knowledge of Nintendo. It seems like Nintendo they're going to be scrambling a little bit if like even half of this is true. Like that's a massive thing to get out there beforehand. And in some ways, you can imagine being able to direct and just seeing like an Ocarina of Time trailer start up or Zelda trailer or whatever. Like, what is this? Is this when you see like the Temple of Time and things just in like completely new graphics? You're like, holy shit. You can imagine how cool that would have been, but I don't think that moment will be
Yeah.
taken away from us either necessarily. Like, still going to be very cool to actually see it. But yeah, definitely gets you excited because all we know is Tomodachi Life and Yoshi as far as release dates at the moment and Pokemon Champions.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. And so the other things he said just around the games, I think he said Star Fox will be revealed in April. Probably not a shock if it's a summer game.
Yes.
So we'll kind of have a sense how likely the rest of it is once we may see or not see that in a few weeks. And then he said, I don't know, sorry, I might have missed you say it, but Duskblood's late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe around the holiday, maybe October. Which again just probably makes a lot of sense that it's coming out this year still, but given we haven't seen it, not a shock it's not sort of, earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, Duskbloods. It's a very different game to Nintendo's core audience. So, like, for example, Josh and I, we're not FromSoft fans. We're not online multiplayer fans.
Yeah,
So,
neither.
yeah, so I'd be like, yeah, I'll be very intrigued to see if like the FromSoft audience comes over the Switch too and starts playing this, because like a lot of those types of gamers, they're kind of like a bit miffed. They've got to come over to Nintendo in some ways. Like when I hear them talk about it, like they talk about Nintendo's awful online experience, and honestly, like for the most part, it's fine. But apart from like some weird decisions where you can't join lobbies and just crap like that. So hopefully they iron that out for the hardcores that come over to this platform to play the game. But yeah, I'm gonna be very intrigued. I might even get sucked into it and love it. Who knows? This might be my first FromSoft game that catches my attention and I just can't put it down. Who knows? We might all be obsessed with it. We'll be hardcore FromSoft fans by the end of this. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, feeling pretty optimistic about the rest of the year. It's been pretty good so far. Like no, nothing mega really, apart from I guess Pokopia. But yeah, there's something seemingly every month or like even week to week. It's like a fair bit. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and I think probably the last bit I'll just say that Nate said a few times, because a lot of the questions came from people being like, oh, is the reason Nintendo's not doing a direct or not doing this or that because they're having development troubles? And his perspective is no, they aren't having any development troubles. They're just changing how they market their games. And he made a good point that, like, he said, like, every week, pretty much for the last few months, there's been some headline about Nintendo. And you can sort of see why maybe that's a more optimal outcome for Nintendo than having potentially 10 headlines buried into one day. So it might suck for us that preferred the 3, times a year or 4 times a year or whatever number you deem as the standard number of Nintendo Directs and how getting your news that way. But it does kind of feel like Nintendo are pivoting to a more 1 to 2 Directs a year and just using Nintendo Today and other means to sort of do announcements for those in between weeks, and just kind of stay constantly in the news cycle. So I kind of feel like I'll get used to it. I don't think it actually bothers me as much as I thought it would, but I do understand for some people who love the reactions, the hype, the whole rigmarole, that might be a little disappointing, but it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, I get both perspectives, but I think ultimately, like, I just want to sort of know the next 3 months of what I'm playing. So whether it's like an organized finances or even like the podcast, sort of like plan out a little bit, like what I'm going to play at certain times. Just stuff like that. Just gamer planning. That type of stuff. Organize the backlog when I'm going to be tackling new things and all that type of stuff. And I guess like it's nice to get that all at once, and it is nice to do reactions and see other people's reactions and all of that. And I'm not really on social media now, so I usually get it. I honestly get it from you posting the Discord or somebody else. Like I check it in the morning. Oh, there's a link for Nintendo today. Oh yeah, well Yoshi's got a release date. All right, nice. It's coming out May. Keep that in mind. It's kind of how I get my information now. Just other people that are just like on it a bit more quickly. But yeah, I think there'll still be like at least a couple of directs, surely. Like, yeah, I just want.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they're going away.
No.
It just sounds like they are a bit more bundled up, I suppose. Again, and it kind of makes sense. Even if you think about the September direct as maybe the most solid of ones, it's not a shock when like you kind of want to give people a sense of what's happening early next year. You're probably not going to have much time to market like January, February, March games because you're too focused in on your holiday marketing and just pushing whatever the big November game, October game, whatever it is, just doing that kind of push. And then in December, everyone kind of just stops working. It's, part way through for the most part.
Yeah.
So it there's a lot of sense to that, do a big thing, get it on people's radar, and then, you circle back with like we had this year, like a little overview trailer drop of Mario Tennis in January. Like you start those smaller things for those first few games that you've already sort of told people these are happening in that first quarter. Um, Rather than needing to then rebundle like the second wave of trailers for those games together again, you can just go, we're just going to look at that one game now, and then we'll tell you about the next one, like when we're done with this one. So yeah, it all kind of makes sense again, but I do get anyone that's disappointed. It's just I just kind of get the sense that you're gonna have to sort of live with it now. I don't sense that they're gonna undo that decision they've made.
Yeah, like when do you see them actually focusing on doing the Nintendo Directs now? Because I feel like at the start of this year, like it didn't really make much sense to do a traditional Nintendo Direct. We knew the games, we just sort of needed a release date, and I guess they could have done a bit more, like a new trailer, release date.
Yeah.
But people would have said, "Oh, it's disappointing. It was just Yoshi and Tomodachi Life and stuff we already knew about." Like that would have been the conversation if there was Direct in March. Yeah.
I do think June makes sense because that lets you just do a quick layout of what's happening between now and the end of the year. And then you can just go back to doing more targeted specific things for those little games. Not little, Ocarina of Time's big, but you know what I mean? The only thing that made me think April was possible, and this was a trend we saw a long time ago before Nintendo started doing directs even, and maybe a little bit actually when they were in the early days, but sometimes they used to time announcements around their financial releases in April, mostly because they had to try and explain like to their investors, if we're going to sell 30 million Switch 2s this year, here's how. Like these are the things that will drive that outcome. Otherwise, it's all a bit nebulous of like, we're going to sell 30 million Switch 2s and we're going to sell 100 million games. I'm not going to tell you what games they are yet, but we're going to do it.
It's a secret.
Which is just a little less. Yeah, it's a little less convincing. It seems they've maybe because they're in such a successful sort of streak, maybe they feel comfortable just leaving investors out of the loop longer. But I do remember there was like periods where like I think like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was announced just like randomly with like right around an investor meeting with just images, if I recall, as an example. Like
I remember the box art,
quite regularly.
Remember the box art just coming out.
Yeah, and that was pretty much out of an investor meeting. So that was the only thing that made me think maybe they're just going to go for April just so they do it the week of the investor meeting. The next day, they literally get bombarded with questions, and those questions don't have to be what games are you making, because right now there's nothing on the upcoming list. But it feels like that's not the way it's going. So from that perspective, then June makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. It goes back to just what we were doing before, just like the one E3 press conference, and that was it.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Back to the old days.
Yeah, I think September too. September always like works out pretty well too. Just like you said, you can sort of line up the start of the next year too. I wonder if that'll work, but yeah, they're gonna have obviously they've got like a lot of stuff to announce. So whether it will just be like a trailer drop here and there, like you mentioned with Nintendo today, like there's a lot of stuff to do that with though. But who knows?
Yeah. Again, I think you've got to do your big announcement for some games in a direct, not all games, but it's just the follow up stuff you might not need to. Like you've made people aware that Ocarina of Time, whatever it is coming out. That's the big thing. Now it's like they'll probably tune in for a Ocarina of Time direct or an Ocarina of Time overview trailer or whatever it might be. Like they'll come for that. So you just don't necessarily have to bundle it all together. And to be honest, I'd actually argue the benefit for games is the smaller stuff because people will tune into a direct or that's just on Ocarina of Time because it's Ocarina of Time. But Rhythm Heaven is kind of the kind of game which needs to be sort of bundled with some other games so that people actually watch it and go, oh, actually, that looks pretty fun. I might give that a whirl.
Yeah, that's right.
Or whatever small niche games they might do.
Yeah, no one will know about like Rhythm Heaven if it's like not in a direct next to some other major stuff, and like a lot of third party content too in indies that they do include in these directs. They benefit like substantially just from being in amongst these other games people are actually waiting for. Like, that's why like the third party directs, everyone's like, "What's all this?" But if you saw like you know something big in amongst some other Nintendo stuff, you might be a little bit more interested potentially. But we'll see. We'll see if who knows. They might announce one tomorrow and also announce Star Fox in that direct.
Or they might just be like an FU to Nate and be like, direct in 1 week, starring 3D Mario. just really just like completely throw him under the bus and be like it was all fake leaks that they've fed him through his channels. But my gut says no. And my gut says he's probably maybe not all of it, but at least a good amount will probably come to fruition.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens with all that. We've got plenty of games to play now, though, so don't worry your pretty little faces. I thought I'd just bring this up that PlayStation's had a massive price increase globally. So just for some context here in Australia, the PlayStation 5 has gone from was it $850 to $1,000. The PlayStation 5 Pro has gone from $1,200 to $1,400. And I'm not quite sure what the Portal has gone off the top of my head. 300 and something. Can't remember. It's gone up like 50 or $70. But quite substantial. It's now 25% more expensive than the PlayStation 5 was at launch back over 5 years ago. And Zach, I thought I'll just get your take on the situation, just with electronics in general, but also like obviously Switch 2. We haven't seen a price increase for Switch 2. We did see increases in the US for accessories due to tariffs before launch to try and subsidize some of the tariffs Nintendo has to pay to get that into the US. But because of like AI companies just gobbling up storage and RAM, we are in quite a bit of trouble if you want to like buy something with one of these things in it, whether it's a car, a PlayStation, or potentially very soon a Switch 2. So yes, what's your feelings on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, ignore that for a second. Look at the Switch and what happened. While there were good deals, bundles, there was never a price cut. Now we've got this hyperinflation, this very specific issues for the tech industry around, as we said, the chips and everything going for, powering AI warehouses and whatnot, on top of just more issues every other day with wars causing fuel shortages and all this stuff that's just causing inflation upon inflation upon inflation. It would be naive to think that the price of the Switch 2 will ever materially go down. Yes, that we might get every now and then a nice little discount from a retailer, but the actual official price very unlikely to go down. And as you said, Drew, probably more likely to go up. Um, Despite Nintendo saying they have no immediate concerns a few months ago of needing to raise the Switch 2. Again, the situation globally has already changed between then and now. So, you can't guarantee that, unfortunately. Um, so, I guess my only advice is like, or things to think about if you haven't got a Switch 2 yet is if you're holding out, just think about why. If it's because you want a specific color, well, fair enough. Maybe you got to wait for that color because it's still just the one SKU at the moment in terms of its color. If it's because you are waiting for a number of games that you want to come out, I can't argue with you, but I do suggest maybe reflecting on other Nintendo systems and how often have they not hit whatever your threshold is, if you know what I mean. Like, that's why I'm always comfortable getting a Nintendo system at launch, because even the worst case scenario of like the Wii U was still enough there for me to feel okay with my purchase. Not everyone's going to be like that. I'm sure there's some people who said, no, I really regret buying a Wii U, or maybe I regret buying a Switch. Some people didn't jive with the style of game Nintendo made in this last era. That's different. Yes, wait for the games that you definitely will like to play to come out. But if you're more like me and you kind of know, look, even just look at those rumors. Like, if those rumors all add up to enough games for you, maybe just look at buying one. I'm not trying to be a Nintendo shill. I'm more just trying to save you some money. Because Sony were quote unquote nice enough to give everyone about 3 days of grace to scramble and buy at the current price, which was already an upped price from a few months ago or a year ago. I can't remember when they last raised the price. You can't guarantee Nintendo will be as nice. Hopefully they will be. Hopefully they'll give us a few weeks warning to go and upgrade to a Switch 2 at the current price, but you just don't know. And even if they do, you don't know if there'll be stock wherever you are. We've obviously seen in the last few weeks Procopia cause Switch 2s to be harder to locate, so it's always a bit of a gamble. But so if you got the money, and it's not going to cause you financial distress to make the purchase, and you are like me, and you can say, you know what, there's going to be a Mario, there's going to be a Zelda, apparently there's a Star Fox. That probably gets me there. Maybe don't wait.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo is not immune to it, for sure. Like every other gaming company has long raised their price, whether it's because of tariffs, whether it was because of this shortage, or my God, the fuel prices or just transport. It's all just adding together, let alone the inflation caused by COVID 5 years ago. It's started with COVID. It's just keep on going.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't understand unfortunately how they can't they can't just continue just holding on unless they really go, look, we got to make this a success. Like a massive portion of their business is people having these systems and accessing the eShop and buying their games and obviously buying physical games. Like that is a massive portion. Obviously, they're diversifying. They're becoming an entertainment company with movies. Obviously, Mario movie is going to be massive, theme parks and everything. But it all starts with people falling in love with the games and wanting to watch the movie and et cetera, for the most part. So, yeah.
The one silver lining that I kind of hope comes out of this, not saying it will, but could, putting on my economist hat for a second. But Japan as a country has not been subject to the level of inflation that the rest of the world has. In fact, it's quite stagnant. Why, for a lot of us Aussies traveling there in the last few years, it's been incredibly cheap because their prices have not gone up, and also the yen has been incredibly weak. As a result, also their wages haven't drastically cost, and that's a similar story in Asia broadly, which is why you do hear a lot of stories around how games made in Korea, China, etc., are a lot cheaper than those made in the US or Western countries like Europe, etc. So a reason I say all that is my only hope is Nintendo, obviously, and PlayStation as well. They've got a problem where there is going to be sticker shock for their systems. The only way to get people over the sticker shock is more good games. And so hopefully there's an element of like, okay, guys, we kind of need to just do more output of good quality games to really drive sales, because when people see these new higher prices, they need more convincing. Now that won't be an overnight thing. They can't just go and pull a few more games out of their hat and just put them on the shelf. But in the longer run, I do hope we start to see um, maybe that initiative take place where they go, because relatively the cost of making games in our countries, our home countries, is a bit more stable. Let's spin off another studio. And we know Nintendo's building another building in Kyoto to staff up anyway, but again, really push those initiatives to get a really strong, consistent output, uh, and even maybe ramp up a bit from where they are today. Even though it might hurt you and me and others who pay for those games and buy almost all of them a lot more. But I think that's maybe the one potential good outcome for this overall just bad situation.
I like that. That's very optimistic.
Yeah,
I guess it kind of makes
got to
sense.
be a little optimistic.
Yeah, I guess it could make sense. Obviously, like these dev teams and that, like all of their equipment and resources and that they're using will be hit by these prices too. But for the most part, like you said, like their wages and that are unfortunately quite low for probably what they should be paid over there. For the most part, most of these gaming publishers in Japan. So yeah, I guess I could say that. Like, I'm like, look, each system is getting very hard to sell, so we really need to put in the effort and make amazing games. So
Yeah.
then people really justify it. Who knows? I'd love to see that. That'd be great. Like, just be like, it's like even though the Switch 2 it's now $1,000, but hell, there are some games to play on it. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that'll be quite nice. The only thing is like it's $1,000 system, but as we talked about, like Nintendo games are very expensive. Like $110 here. Like go and get your physical games. If you get it from EB Games because you hate your money. So yeah, like it's unfortunate. It's just it's just ridiculous. It'll be interesting to see. Like we look back on this in 5 years. Will this be what really neutered the Switch 2? We look back on it being like the Switch 2 should have been a slam dunk and it came out to a massive start. But this is what kind of neutered it in some ways. Same with PlayStation 5. Like PlayStation 5, it's very likely to outsell PS4. But is this what kind of slows it right down so it doesn't really overtake it all that much? Like I think PS5's at 95 million or something like that. Like it's within 30 million of PS5. Oh, sorry, PS4. So yeah, be interesting to see what this does to these existing systems. Also, like PS5, it's been outselling Switch 2 for like last 3 months in America, which is kind of like, what's going on Nintendo? Like, is there something wrong? I don't know. It's sort of something to like actually get the data and really talk about rather than me just sort of remembering it without looking at it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to analyze there, because I have seen Matt Piscatella point out though, like even when the like PS4 launched or the PS5 launched, like the Switch was outselling the PS5, and then when the Switch launched, the PS4 was outselling the Switch. So it might seem odd, but perhaps it's actually quite common for new systems to lag behind more mature ones. It is a bit hard to say, but you're right. I'm sure Nintendo were hoping to be top of the charts in America every single month since launch, and to not have done that consistently, it's probably a bit of a bummer. Uh, with that said, I mean, it all kind of depends on where it lands in the long run, right? Because you might have a shitty February, but then you have like an exceptional March because again, Pocopia comes out, and overall it balances out in the long run. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I'm sure they're going to have to talk a little bit about that in their financials. There'll probably be regional breakdowns, and we'll get a bit more clarity around, are they struggling in the US compared to Japan and other regions. Sorry, excuse me. I know in Australia they are struggling a little bit, but that's pretty standard. Like struggling in comparison to PlayStation, because we are a PlayStation sort of nation for the most part in terms of popularity. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's like some of the podcasts that I listen to, they're kind of just like bit confused by it, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of got off to such a strong start. Like, I wonder whether it was just so front loaded. Like, we all love our Switch, so we're like, oh well, I'll get the new one, and then like everybody else
Yeah,
who's kind of questioning it or not really interested, it's like it's just up to them. Like now they really have to work to sell like the people who are not really all that fussed about upgrading or can't afford it or whatever their reasons. Um, yeah, now they've got to get the games out there to speak for himself. So yeah, all right, Zach, let's talk
yeah.
about what we've been playing over the last week. I love some. Would you like to start or would you like me? I've only got one game I've
Well,
briefly been playing, but
I'll go. I'll go quick just because I haven't played anything new. I
mm-hmm.
just chipping away at Procopia, but nothing really to talk about there. And I finished Despelote, which was good. And
Cool.
still, yeah, if the concept sounds interesting to you, definitely give it a whirl. Especially if you see it on a discount on Switch or PC or wherever you want to play your games. Um, uh, so yeah, with that said, I'm very keen to hear about the game you've been playing, which you mentioned, I think earlier in the show, being that you went and picked up Life is Strange, which has been getting decent reviews, which is a nice surprise.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at any of the reviews. I didn't want to because like the last game, it was getting bad reviews, and like if I listened to it, I would have like missed out on a game I actually really enjoyed. So I'm like, I don't want to hear
Yeah.
if it has a bad ending or like whatever the reason is. Like I don't want to go into it, but like, oh, it's gonna not end all that well. Like, and even in some ways, I don't even want to like say too much here because I know, like for example, Luke, he's waiting for his physical copy to be mailed from Amazon. So I'm like, I don't really want to go into it like talking all that much about it. And like I've only played like an hour and a half or 2 hours anyway, so I don't have um, all that much to say. But just from what I've played so far, I'm really enjoying it. Just it's always nice to be back in the Life is Strange universe. I just love Max as a character. Haven't even got to the part where I've really seen Chloe all that much, who's like the returning character from the original Life is Strange.
Mm.
So yeah, I dare say once they're interacting in that it might be quite special or it might be quite corny. But like you said, I've heard just like a little bit of. I've just heard the reviews are good, so I'm like, oh cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's all. That's honestly all I want to hear. To be honest with you, but yeah, I'm playing on PS5. I played just remote streaming, just my AYN portal. So that was quite nice. I was just laid up in bed playing it that way, which is quite nice. Just still getting the handheld experience, but just not on the Switch. Hopefully it comes to Switch. The other games are all on Switch, so hopefully it gets a Switch 2 version. That'd be quite nice. Really, really, really nice, cozy game to play and just in handheld mode. I was just laying in bed and what Life is Strange is for those that haven't played it. It's basically like an adventure game, really. I guess like in an old school way where like you're exploring an area, you're interacting with items. In this particular game, your original power has returned where you can rewind time. So a lot of that is used in puzzles at the very start of the game. You're able to like, you basically ask a question and then you find out the answer, you rewind time and you tell them straight away and they're like, oh, how'd you know that? So, well, I heard the question. I snooped it out and I rewound time and now here we are. So a lot of sort of puzzles like that and it's a very like character focused, lots of different characters and different dramas going on within the game. And I guess the main scenario for this is that Max, she went away for the weekend. She's a photographer. She went to New York to attend like I guess a professional opportunity. She comes back. the university that she teaches at is on fire, and then like she can't do anything about it. She sees some of her friends in a lot of trouble, and she actually uses one of her powers to like basically flash back into a photo. So she flashes back to like the Friday before, like 3 days before the events of what happened. So the main premise of the game is like figuring out how the fire started and what the motives are behind it and all that type of thing. So yeah, a bit of a mystery behind it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm just taking my time in it. Like, just when I was exploring the areas, there's like some elements you can interact with, and you just like sit down on the park bench, for example, and then like a song starts up, and it's just like a bit of an interactive wallpaper type of thing. Like, it's just like flashes to max when it sort of pans across the park and does all this. I'm sort of just sitting there in the moment because I know this is going to be the last Life is Strange with Max and Chloe. Like, this is the finale to their story. So I'm like, there's no rush. It doesn't matter if it takes me like an hour and a half to basically do like a couple of things. Like, I'm just I love the vibe. I love the music for this game. So I'm just sort of embracing it. No rush. Apart from when I go on holiday and I can't bring the PlayStation with me in a few weeks. So maybe I would like to finish it before then, but yeah, no rush. I'm just that session I was just enjoying it. So yeah, I'm glad that it's getting good reviews, because the last one got panned, and in some ways rightfully so, but there's a lot to love about Double Exposure too. I thought it was there was a lot of things to like about it. It's just there was just some head scratching moments when it came to the writing, but yeah, the actual game itself and the characters I thought were fantastic. So it's nice to revisit them and see them. So yeah.
Yeah, it certainly got me excited because, as I mentioned last time, I played the first couple of games, loved them. Was a bit bummed with the reception of Double Exposure, but like, I think, uh, I'd probably still get on a sale, but this has sort of reinvigorated my interest to first play Double Exposure and then maybe see out, Max and Chloe's story to the end. And yeah, it's just good. I mean, like, it would have sucked if the way those two, I will say, iconic characters went out was bad. I think that would have been very disappointing for it to fizzle out. So glad, at least initially, it seems people are liking it, and it's also glad to hear at least the vibe so far feels right in that first sort of hour and a bit you've played.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I would recommend, like, if you're interested, go and get Double Exposure on a sale. Like, I think it was on sale for like $33 or something on Steam. It is on Switch, but I wouldn't recommend the Switch version without a Switch 2 patch or anything like that. Maybe, who knows how it plays with the boost mode now. I dare say it won't make too much of a difference. But yeah, I'll definitely say give it a go. Like, if you're in the mood for like that type of game, give Double Exposure a go. Go into it knowing like the story isn't perfect, but it's the characters that make it what it is. Like, all of the new friends that she meets at the university, they're great. They're great characters, and the choices you can make to either romance them or just be friends with them. Interesting how that plays into it as well. It's just like, just towards the end, it was kind of like, why did you do that? But they also sort of picking up the new one, and like, you're going through the journal and some of the I guess the repercussions that happened because of the events of like the last game. They don't make a massive deal about it, at least not yet, and it kind of makes sense. So I'm like, so it doesn't seem like they're sort of like, it hasn't like ruined like the idea of what this game is. So be playing it over the week, I dare say. It's nice to dust off the PlayStation 5 again too. I haven't played it really at all this year. So it's nice to use the PlayStation. Always nice to use a bit of technology that I got, especially since I know how expensive this goddamn thing is now. Sitting next to me, like, it's a fucking $1,400 PlayStation apparently now. Jesus Christ.
Got to justify not selling it. You can make a profit if you sold it down. So
it annoys me though, because I check Marketplace and there's like $300 PS5s on there. Like, I don't know why they're so cheap. Especially now, like they're I don't know. People just price. I don't know. because you would think like, oh look, it's $1,000 now. Like you could sell yours for $700, and that'd be quite a deal. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but no, they're cheap as hell. So like, because yeah, every now and again I think about like trying to sell some stuff. Like I've got like my Xbox Series S, that thing's going. Like some other stuff, I'm like, I just want to get rid of it. So like, not because I do own like multiple PS5s. I'm not saying I want to get rid of my PS5, but like I've got like maybe one
Yeah.
too many type of thing. But yeah, just I don't want to give it away either. So I'd rather just keep it as a Blu-ray player for another TV or something. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's jump to the questions, Zach, before we get on out of here. But I just want to thank Luke and Dave for leaving questions. Didn't read them just purely because like we were going to cover a lot of what the questions asked anyway. Luke asking about the Mario movie predictions. We covered the Mario movie, our sort of thoughts on that, and also Dave talking about the Mario movie as well as Pokemon Champions. So we did jump into those. But Sam Hay left us a question earlier in the week, and I thought it was quite good. So I'll read this and we'll jump into it. But he says, a question for next episode. Is there a game that you've waited ages for just to be let down by? It doesn't have to be performance-based, just overall gameplay. For me, it was Yooka-Laylee. When the Kickstarter got announced, I was just getting back into games and probably didn't really understand indie games / Kickstarter games. All I knew was a bunch of old Rareware workers were making a spiritual success to the Banjo-Kazooie. I feed on every bit of information that came out, and I desperately waited on it on the Wii U, like it was originally announced, and had to wait for the Switch release only to not get a proper physical release. And to this day, there is only one of 2 games I have in the collection that isn't Oz released. And by the way, I hate that too. After all that time, I was heavily let down by the experience and pretty much the reason I won't buy indie games. 10 years on, and they still are trying to sell an upgraded version of the game, and Playtonic never turned into the studio I'd hope from all the hype leading into it. So yeah, it seems like Sam was very hurt by Yooka-Laylee. And I guess specifically Yooka-Laylee. I remember being very excited by that too. And that was a game I supported on Kickstarter, and I never actually played it because the reviews come out, and when I heard about it from the reviews, I'm like, it turned me off that too. Maybe I should have just. There's a few instances where just don't listen to the reviews, especially when I've already got access to the game too, I guess. But
Yeah. I mean, my first game was Banjo-Kazooie, so as you can imagine, I hold Rare and Banjo in high esteem. So I went through a similar journey with Yooka-Laylee. I did try it because I also kickstarted it, but I never finished it because it was a bit whatever. So I mean that is a good example for me as well. It's a bit harder for me. I don't know about you, Drew, to pick out other examples because I think Banjo. Let's keep on that train for a second. An obvious one people will bring up is Nuts and Bolts, but. Ooh. By the time the game actually came out, we knew what the game was, you know what I mean? So it's different to Yooka-Laylee where until it came out, we didn't know it was going to be a subpar game. We already knew the weirdness of what Nuts and Bolts would be when it came out, so it just hits different, I guess. It doesn't hit like a truck, of like, oh, crap, it's actually bad. It's like, okay, it's weird and it's different, and I actually think Nuts and Bolts is good. I haven't played it, but... the disappointment happened more at that reveal that this is not a platformer. This is a weird car making game, if that makes sense. So it hit me then. So it's very hard for me to think of a game that genuinely really disappointed me because usually the disappointing elements were advertised much earlier.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation to Kickstarter because it is guess what? The team's getting back together and we're making a platformer where you play as an animal with his animal companion, just like Banjo-Kazooie. We're back, baby. And we don't have a game yet. Can we have some money to make it? So you literally know nothing about it. And then eventually, you support it, do all that, you wait for it. And then the product comes out and it's either what you want or disappointing in the case of um, ukulele. It was on the disappointing side. But for the most part, like if you're really excited for the next Zelda game, there's going to be a lot of information of that goddamn Zelda game before you get your hands on it. And for the most part, like you'll know if you like it pretty much. Obviously, you'll play for the story or something. It's like, oh, it's not really, didn't really hit how I wanted it to hit. Or, there'll be something like that. But at least you'll know what the actual game is before you put your money down. Yeah, so I don't have an example where I'm like that heartbroken by it. But I guess like I guess I'll be like Mario Strikers. That was definitely Mario Strikers Battle League on Switch. That's probably like the one where like
yeah.
they announced it, I'm like, oh my god, I lost my shit. I was like so excited about it. And then like getting the game like doesn't have much content in it. The modes are like the same as like the GameCube version. It's not as fast as the GameCube version. It's not as like visually impactful as the Wii version. Like it doesn't look as hardcore and gritty, and like it doesn't play as well. Not much depth to it. The online sucks. Like I'm like, holy shit! Like do I like anything about this game? I don't know if I do. So it's probably the most disappointing as far as like games goes. For me personally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a close example I could think about was Endless Ocean Luminous, where it effectively just cut out the campaign element of the first two games, which was the highlight in my opinion, and just made it this roguelite, I'd almost say.
Yeah, kind of.
With a more online focus. Yeah. But the flip side then again is it wasn't like a long wait. It was like what, February to May or something. So it was quite short. So I didn't have like the length of a ukulele to really get overly hyped. It was just more like when it came out, I'm like, oh, they didn't quite. This isn't really a third one in the vein of what I think people would have wanted a third one of that series. But still a little disappointing. Even though I still had fun with it, it just was like clearly going to be like this is like a few hours of fun, not or it was going to be like dozens of hours of boredom trying to actually 100% that game because it was quite lengthy from what I understand of a grind to get all the little secrets or whatever they were. But yeah, like that's all I can think of. I do want to say to Sam though, I don't think the lesson to learn here is that indie games are bad. I think the lesson to learn is kickstarting games is bad. I know that might be harder for like you. It's easy for us to say that, but I really want to impress on you that like there are a lot of good indie games, and you can, fortunately, for most of the time, just wait and read impressions and it sounds like you haven't dabbled in many indie games. You probably have a massive catalog now you could go and jump into, because at least for me, some of my favorite games are indie, like Celeste, Undertale, Stardew Valley. Like there's just a ton that are incredible and you'll probably actually really enjoy. So I just implore you to not let ukulele burn you on independent games, but let it burn you on kickstarting games. I do think that's a healthy thing to drop doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for going back to that point. Yeah, because when I read it, I'm like, yeah, no, don't take that. Indie games in 2026 are like the backbone. That's where so many of the interesting ideas come from. And not only that, like if you want your money to be stretched out and get multiple experiences for like the price of like say one first party Nintendo game, you'll get 5 games, you get 6 games like on sale for like for the same price. Like, yeah, no, definitely don't turn yourself off to indie games. Yeah, it's just the Kickstarter model of, you put your money down and then they make the game. You don't know what the game's going to be. So that's where it's tough. But yeah, no, look into some indie games. Go and play some Hollow Knight or something like that. I don't know. Hollow Knight was Kickstarted
or
too.
Even and honestly, if you look around, there are probably better banjo likes. Even like not a full banjo like, but something like a short hike, which is quite a short game, will scratch that banjo itch quite well. So just have a look around, and you'll probably actually find other people doing a better job than than Platonic did at capturing the vibe.
Yeah, there's a game I'm looking at called Big Hops. Like that looks quite cool. Like you play as a frog and you use your tongue and you can roll. It's got like a lot of Mario Odyssey mechanics in it as well. It looks quite
Yeah,
fun. I just it's on the wish list. When it goes on a
yeah,
decent sale, it catches
same.
my attention. I'd like to give it a go. But yeah, there's just so many, dude. Like go in the eShop and check it out for sure. Add them to the wish list. Wait for them to go on sale. Have some fun with it. But yeah, no, I always yeah, I feel bad for indie devs trying to get their name out there these days. Like the noise out there is just absolutely crazy. So good luck. That's why yeah, more people need to be playing indie games so more people can make fun experiences for us for us dads to sit down and play on our Switches.
Yeah.
All right, Zach. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. We've got a nice little meaty podcast here. If anybody got to this point, thank you very much. Use the hashtag. We used Zach is back last time we did the hashtag. What rhymes with Zach? Zach is... The only word that comes to my mind is crack. Zach crack?
Sure, why not? That's Zach is crack. That can be taken many ways. We'll let you interpret it. But thanks Drew for having me on the last few weeks, filling in Josh's shoes. It's been great fun, and obviously still looking forward to chatting again on the spoiler cast for the movie. So not quite, the ride's not over yet, but yeah, it's been a good time, and glad we got a big chunk of things to chat about of all sorts this week. So it was a good way to end the little run.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute blast talking to you over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, we had a lot to talk about, but it's just kind of nice to sit down and geek out about Nintendo and all of that type of thing. It's been a rather positive better half of a month as far as like all that stuff goes with all of the new features and updates and games and everything coming out. So it's been a lot of fun, which is why we do this. God damn it. I don't want to come here and whinge. Maybe Zach does. Zach wants to come here and whinge.
Sometimes. Just about complainers mostly, but yeah.
No, it's just Josh. Josh likes to whinge. He needs to brighten up a little bit.
So negative.
He's so negative, isn't he? He needs to brighten up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yes.
Always ranting and raving.
But yes, Josh will be back next week, and very good timing as far as the Mario movie and that goes. I'm very much looking forward to talking to him, seeing how his holiday went and his gaming and all of that. Be absolutely fantastic. But better plug your podcast, Zach. Blowing cartridges. Brand new episode today,
and we have content.
Yes,
correct. Yes, yes. We made Brendan got jealous. We actually recorded 2 episodes this weekend. It was a fun thing where, like, Saturday night we recorded one. I went to bed. Brendan had a full day in the UK. Woke up and did another one.
Damn.
So that was good. So yeah, the episode we released today, which will probably be of interest to fans of this show. We both talked about 2 museum exhibits that we went to. So I went to Game Worlds at Acme, which was kind of like a generalized history of video games exhibit. But Brendan, more importantly for the fans of this show, went to the Pokemon Archaeology exhibit at the Natural History Museum of London, which was a limited time event for the last few months there. So if you hadn't heard about that, not a shock, because it was, I think, very marketed in the UK, but not necessarily widely publicized unless you tune into Pokemon podcasts or Pokemon, news coverage quite heavily like I do. But so it was great to hear Brendan's experience and actually getting to go. And if you go to his Blue Sky at Tamazoid, he posted some photos from the exhibit as well, which is, just very cool. Because, these kinds of things come and go. And unless you just happen to be in the city at the right time and get a ticket, they're gone. So it's good to hear those experiences sort of recorded. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll probably have the other episode we recorded, which was, I don't know if you know him, but he's sort of part of the Carpool Gaming broader crew, I would say. Marcus O'Neill, who does a slew of podcasts, but specifically Tiny Game Chronicles, was one of his podcasts that made him qualified for the topic, which was just talking about short games and the joy of short games in a world where people often go, "Oh, has this game got enough hours for whatever?" At the same time, we also love our little games that we can knock out in a couple of hours or 5 hours or whatever and feel accomplished. So we had a good chat on why those are important, why they need to be part of the gaming sort of market, and of course ended with a lot of recommendations, particularly from Marcus because of his his show where every fortnight they him and his co-host Michael talk about a short game that they beat in the last 2 weeks. So also a plug for them. If you haven't heard their show before, go check out Tiny Game Chronicles.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. As a dad, I love a good short game. Absolutely. It just, unfortunately at the moment, it seems like I'm drawn to a lot of long games. Like I'm looking at Trails in the Sky first chapter. I picked that up on Switch. Switch 2 because I want to play it there now. So I picked that up. That's a very long game. And Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter Stories 3. I'm like, oh, these aren't short games. So yes, I need to incorporate a few more short games into my rotation a little bit in between those, I feel like. Otherwise I'll get burnt out rather quick. So that sounds great. Your topics are always spot on, man. I will say, like, when your episode dropped today, I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like every time, oh, that sounds interesting. I've listened through probably like a quarter of the most recent episode, just until tea time and all that happened tonight. But
yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
No, that's all good.
Well, as I said, if you haven't got sick of me on this, you know where to find me, everyone. So check us out.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. And for, I guess, long-term viewers of the House of Mario, got a bit of a treat for you at the end of this week. I sat down with my original co-host, Bryce DeWitt, and just a bit of a catch-up with him. So there'll be about 2.5 hour episode with him. We just went and caught up and talked about, Nintendo and how he's going and all sorts of shit. Just had a catch-up. I haven't seen him all year, so it was literally just... That was my catch up with him in a few months. So yeah, it's quite nice. So yeah, if you you remember Bryce, you want to catch up with him, there'll be an episode with him coming up very soon. And if you've been with us,
it's amazing.
In the next, or if you just joined us in the last couple of years, about to get to meet my good friend Bryce. So yes, that should be up on Thursday, roughly. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to episode 356. Very much appreciated. We'll put the jukebox on this week, and I thought I might just do a song from Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's just called Chasing the Koopalings 2. Very inventive, Nintendo. So this must be the second chasing of the Koopalings. But until next time, guys, the doors to the House of Mario, they're closed. We'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. The House of Mario, a Nintendo podcast, is proudly recorded in South Australia. It's hosted and produced by me, Drew Agnew, alongside my co-host, Josh, or JT if you like. Be sure to check out youtube.com/iDrewby, where I share all of my other content and stream the House of Mario live every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. Join the Homestead Discord to be a part of our growing community, chat with fellow Nintendo fans, and get involved with the show through our mailbox channel. And don't miss JT's fortnightly Nintendo podcast, Nintendo Maniacs. Each episode features a brand new guest, and if you love the House of Mario, you'll feel right at home there too.